Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the IrishHotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, and we bring you Match Day live as Tottenham are back in action this evening, where, believe it or not, a win can send us third. So a lot to play for tonight, even though I didn't think this game would have much riding on it, to be honest with you. But to help us get through some of the great questions, I'm going to give myself a bit of praise here. Great questions that I put in there today, and Jacko as well, of course. So hopefully you guys out there do enjoy them. Jacko, how are you, sir?
Keeping well today, Dave.
Yes, well, I've missed them too, actually, Jack.
Miss what, Dave? Sorry?
Return of the Sirs.
Return of the Sir day indeed, Dave. You know, I've been warming up the vocal cords since I've also gotten back from England as well. There were plenty of Sirs that were sung out, so it's just good to kind of get back into the flow of things, Dave. Maybe do some vocal exercises later, you know, just to make sure that they come out loud and clear. But it's good to be back into just kind of talking about sort of Spurs. We'll talk about some of the behind the scenes sort of drama that, of course, continues to sort of kind of drift with us. But also, Dave, I mean, it's still a match preview, as it always is, so I'm looking forward to it. Could be a real kind of tactical display of ugliness between Sean Dyche and Stellini today.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I don't really care how the game goes, just as long as we win tonight. That's all that bothers me, is winning. That's all I care about. But anyway, we are also joined by the one and only Mr. Brady. Good to have you back on these pre-match pump-ups, sir. How are you keeping?
Yeah, good. Funny, I have a good feeling about tonight. I don't know. It's just with all the negativity that's been over the last few days, I think this is a good way to shake it all off now and let's get back to business by winning matches. You know, I'm looking at the table here. You know, Spurs are in crisis. We could be third tonight, 14 points ahead of Chelsea and 10 points ahead of Liverpool, yet we're the team in crisis. Where did they get this crap from, you know?
We are one of the worst third place teams in the moment. I would say. I mean, it really is. Who can suck the least? I think to make it a top four.
Philip already ruffling the feathers. That's what we like to see, nice and early on. And of course, we are joined by the one and only Mia as well. My arch nemesis, my new arch nemesis. How are you keeping, my dear?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Looking forward to actually talking about a match instead of all the other drama. It feels like we should be on some sort of episode of like The Real Housewives or something, the amount of drama that goes on at Tottenham, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, you're right. We could run a sitcom like Coronation Street the way it's going. But look, we will be talking about some of the drama that's going on. I'll just tell you that now. So we'll make our way through it anyway. But look, it's great to have you guys. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And Shawnee Butler will be on his way as well. And we're just going to see who is in the chat with us, joining us, who's ready for today's game. We've got the disabled team. And they say, hi, Dave. Hi, Jack. Hope you're both well. Please beat Everton tonight. I really do hope so. My man, big yourself up. We also have Theo Isaac. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Theo. And we've got John N. Afternoon all in the chat. All I can say is the man's just arrived perfectly on time. What day is it, Shawnee?
It's game day!
I love it. How are you keeping, my man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. How you guys doing? How's everyone feeling?
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good to see you, Phil.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll be better if we win tonight. I can tell you that. Much better.
If we win tonight, everything changes. Everything changes. Just like it did 2 weeks ago. Half the fan base were Conte out. They get Conte out. I know you guys weren't. I know Jack and Dave. I'm not sure what Phil and Mia were, but like I know you guys as a channel were generally not Conte out. But half of the fan base, generally speaking, were Conte out. As soon as they get what they want, they then go, oh, hang on a minute. I don't have anyone else to hate right now, so let me pivot quickly and find the next thing to bash. If we win tonight, everything changes. We're third in the league, and everything goes away, and everyone's happy again for a little moment. But if we lose tonight, all bets are off. All bets
but Sean,
are off.
Joe, they did that with Jose though. Everybody wanted Jose out and they wanted him gone. And yeah, it was the wrong timing. But once he's gone, everyone's going, oh, but Jose's been sacked. I'm like, but you wanted him sacked. Everyone was complaining about Jose. I don't understand it.
Everyone needs a hammer, like a nail to hit. If the only tool that you have is a hammer, then the only object that you need is a nail. And unfortunately, if Conte was one nail and that's now been smashed into the ground, there's only another couple of nails that are left. Paratici was one, and that's kind of been pulled out for the time being. So the last one left is Daniel Levy, and we're going to be hammering that nail for a while, I think.
Well, look, we do have a lot of good talking points to discuss this evening, so I'm sure we'll get on to a lot of juicy topics here this afternoon. Big up, John N. Who else have we got here? DG, great to see you in the building. We've got the one and only Fast Radfire 3-1 Spurs. Hello, my favourite channel. Hope you are well. Let's go on a run and finish in top 4 again. I would be happy with Stellini to stay next season if he achieves this target. Fair enough. Look, this could go either ways. We could either be witnessing the Chuckle Brothers, or we could be witnessing the greatest duo since Pinky and the Brain. So let's wait and see, my man. Let's wait and see what happens there. That's a throwback, by the way.
Who?
Pinky and the Brain.
What did they do?
Oh, they were just
two little mice.
scientists.
There were two little mice that were really. Oh, they were like planning to plot to take over the world. It was fantastic. Great show.
It was one of the only cartoons I watched. Made sure how devious I was when I was a youngster, sitting there planning to take over the world. We've got Mr. Oosterreicher all the way from Canada. Hope you're keeping well, my man. He says, wow, another Spurs day. It seems like it's been an eternity. Big up there, big up, Jack. In boots we trust. No. And I'll just read out the rest. Top 4 is ours. Big yourself up, Mr. Oosterreicher. We've got Phil Coy says, big up, lads. Spurs are playing a dangerous game, putting Stellini and Mason in charge till the end of the season. Managers such as Poch, Nagelsmann and Enrique might be at other clubs by then. What I will say, just quickly to counteract that, Phil, is I have no doubt there's managers sitting there and waiting to see what way Tottenham finish, to be honest with you. And I reckon that's what maybe the hold-up is in terms of the managers we're going after. They want to see whether we can offer Champions League or not, my man. Who else have we got here? We've got NJ123 afternoon. Big up, my man. Good to see you in the building. Wembley 1 as well. Colin Turner, great to see you. We've also got Mick Hans coming in the building. We've got Tenorpool, big yourself up. Who else are we missing here? Davo, good to see you, my man. Great to see you, brother. We've got Eamon Burns as well. Yes, lads, big 3 points needed tonight. Big up, my man. Georgie Hill says, big up, lads. Let's see if the lads show up and throw the towel in early this season. Let's wait and see, my man. Christoph Cavalets, let's get third. Big yourself up. Foggy Foam, good to see you. Who else are we missing here? We've got Luca, 14. Big up, my man. Great to see you in the building. Hopefully life's treating you well. Same as Davey Hamilton, Wolfie Mauler, LLS Vlogs. We've got Derek Hutchinson. Big up, my man. Great to see you. The one and only Mr. Freeman in the building. Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Who else have we got here? We've got Leighton Evelyn. As pessimistic as always, good to see you, though. I do hope you're keeping well, my man. Big yourself up. Peter Simmons as well. We also have Mary W in the building. Great to see you. Free for all as well. Good to see you in the building. Then we have Hiss and Bluff Hodges. Sounds like a cereal, but big yourself up, my man. And then we've also got Adrian Schrocker says, good afternoon. All polite tonight. We chew the toffees up. Well, I've got my bag sitting and waiting, so hopefully it comes to fruition, my man. And then we've got Dan Davenport, new YouTube member. Big yourself up, brother. Hopefully we get to speak to you soon. And thank you for becoming a channel member, my man. Absolute legend. We've got DJ Samuel from Tottenham himself as well. Big up, DJ. And then DG says, today's mystery is like any other game. My heart. Yeah, do you know what? I just want us to do it easy tonight, to be honest with you, my man. This season has been sending my health absolutely everywhere, blood pressure up here, heart going mad. Sean's alluded to it this season, and I'm just constantly red, from my blood pressure constantly going through the roof. So DG, hopefully it's just a nice, simple, straightforward win for once tonight. Big yourself up, but I really appreciate the support. And we've got Nigel Watson as well. We also have Jamie Stew, Amy as well, Carcatera, big yourself. I've got a good pronunciation on that. You got to admit that. Big yourself up. We've also got Amir as well. Great to see you. Tequila 316, Daniel Sandoval as well. Mr. Harnett, legend. Good to see you. Same as the one and only John Stokes. Great to see you, brother. And Jordan Stevens as well. Great to see you. And now we're going to skip and Eddie Parsons in there along with Ian and Adiz as well. Good to see everyone. And then we've also got Move on the Quiet, Don't Say Nothing, and Daniel Lavini as well. That is absolutely everybody, and Chris sneaking in there as well. So guys, that is everybody. Welcome in. I'm just going to tell everyone everything they need to know, and then we'll get straight into the talking points. So, of course, kick-off tonight is at 8 p.m. We are away at Goodison Park. Referee is David Coote. In the VAR room, we've got Michael Oliver. If you want to watch the game in the UK and Ireland, of course, it is on Sky Sports. And in the USA, it's on Peacock TV. And the watch-along starts here at 7:30 if all of you want to come back and join myself, Jack, and Shawnee. Of course, Tottenham missing today. Bissouma, Sessegnon, Bentancur, Davies, Emerson. And is Lloris 100% back today?
No, he's on the bench. He's on the bench, I think. Well, he did 45 minutes in the week, I think, as a training game or something. Yeah.
Shame he wasn't in goals when we played France. We probably would have won.
Oh, to God. Yeah.
We would have done, Philip, wouldn't we?
We would have, yeah. No, he wouldn't have saved that header. No chance. No chance.
Not fair. No. Not fair. And then for Everton, we're missing Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Andros Townsend. So, guys, you know how this works. We're going to start having all these talking points out there, start having a good interaction. All we ask of you guys is to interact with us in the chat. That's all we ask. If you want to go above and beyond that, feel free to smash the like, grab a channel membership, or even send your thoughts in a super chat. It is a great way to help this channel keep growing, keep thriving. So if that's what you want to be a part of, feel free to do it. But I do understand that it's really tough times for everyone. And the least we ask is just get the engagement and your comments in the chat, as always. And then we've got a super chat here from Adrian Chia. Joseph is in as well. Good to see you, Joseph. Adrian Chia says, big up, lads. It'll be most Spursy if we go on and get third, and then Levy goes out and appoints Steve Cooper to lead us into Champions League with Langley, Davies, and Rodin. Philip, we'll start with you on this one. Steve Cooper, do you want him anywhere near the Tottenham job? The Nottingham Forest manager?
Only if he's a paying customer watching the match. No.
No.
Don't think so. No.
I just got to ask you, Dave. That's the reason I was laughing. You introduced, like you said it in such a nice Irish way as well. And at 4:17 p.m., Danilo Levini, welcome to the channel. Did you not? It's one of those guys who's like creating all of the soccer accounts right now. It's got Daniel Levy with a hairband.
Oh no! I get it.
He's having a crack at me.
Oh, all right. I get it now.
And welcome to the show, Danilo Levini. Good to see you on board, my brother. How you doing? In the end,
I didn't. For Shawnee, Steve Cooper, my man. Would you have him anywhere near?
No, of course not. No, I can't do that. Like, good manager, maybe whatever, one day. But first and foremost, the guy's like 30. He's younger than me and looks like he's going on 62 or something. Like he's the bags under his eyes tell a tale, right? And I think if you're working with Daniel Levy, I think those bags would become like giant.
Send them over the edge.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's a good fit. Listen, there's lots of managers out there that I'd be more tolerant of than others. I think a lot of weird sort of connotations that are kind of emerging with regard who's available all of a sudden, why they're available all of a sudden. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, for me, Steve Cooper is not one of them.
Yeah, definitely not. Mia, Steve Cooper for you?
No, I can't believe that he's as young as what Sean just said. No way. He looks about twice my age. Like, what's going on? He looks like a right old man, but no.
He's not using moisturiser, I can tell you that, Mia.
Yeah. He needs to put teaspoons in the freezer in the night and then pull them out and put them on those little eye bags and he'll suck it right back in like that and then he'll look amazing.
I mean, I haven't slept for 15 years because of my children, but no, I don't even look that bad. Jeez.
Love it. Well, Adrian, you've got your unanimous decision on the panel. Although Jacko's back. Jacko, you could throw a spanner in the works. Do you fancy Steve Cooper at Tottenham?
No, absolute neeked, Dave. Absolute neeked. Do not like that guy. I feel like, I'll respect him for what he's trying to do over there, but it feels like he's been kind of overpraised at times, been given kind of a lot of passes. I feel like he's also kind of maybe been a guy that I understand has thousands of different players to pick from, but he also looks like a player or a manager that doesn't know what his best team is at this stage of the season, which I think is always kind of a bit of a bad sign. Like if you don't have any sort of conviction in what you're picking, I mean, we've all kind of, ground down Conte for kind of picking the same team, but it also can be the other way around where it's like, you're often just switching things a bit too much. And I think Steve Cooper has been a bit guilty of that. So as good of a job as he might be doing, I think he's not doing a spectacular job. So I would say absolute neek, Dave.
Well, there you are. Go on, Philip.
Do you remember the TV show that was on about 10 years ago? Jack, you probably don't know this one. It's called The Bill. Remember The Bill?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
He reminds me of one of the criminals you'd see in The Bill. I don't know what it is. It's something about his eyes.
down some dingy alleyway for sure.
Yeah, selling something he shouldn't be,
Yeah, he does actually. That's really funny. I'm sure there was a criminal that looked really familiar to him when it was on saying that.
There you are, Adrian. We're all in unanimous agreement here along with you. We definitely don't want Steve Cooper anywhere near the job, my man. Big yourself up. And he also says no one wanted Nuno, but Levy got him anyway. Nope, 100%. I mean, look, Barney the dinosaur is on the cards, at this football club. Anybody's on the cards at this football club. It could be completely from left field, like Fonseca, like where did that one come from? You know what I mean? Like it is liable that, these managers could come in the job, but we're all just saying none of us want them. But big up Adrian Chia, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. Yeah, and the less we see that word Nuno, the better, my man. Big yourself up, man. But look, let's crack on. So look, Jack, we'll start with you and we'll work our way around the panel with this. Many called for Stellini ball and they got their wish. Kenny steadied ship at Tottenham Hotspur following Conte's departure.
Can he settle the style of play? We'll get into that later. That might be a different thing because we're not sure how this team will play. But can he settle maybe the morale of the team as much as we made fun of the YMCA sort of song, Dave, and everything like that? Like he is going to be settling the morale of the team. He is going to be sort of at least bringing some sort of, maybe if there are any factions in the squad or any sort of kind of cliques or, anything that's sort of dividing players, he will try to sort of merge that. He will try to bring it together. So you could say that at least the morale around the camp, I imagine, is a bit better. It also is very dependent on results, though. I mean, you can be as nice as you want. You can be kind of like a Graham Potter, right? You can be as nice a guy as you want, but if the results aren't going your way, the morale does dip. So it's kind of up to Stellini to sort of put his arm around all their shoulders and be their friend, but also still get the best out of them at the same time. And I have trust that maybe he could do that in most of these games, but I am a bit worried about how he is going to be able to do it in some of the bigger games, Dave, when there is going to be a lot asked of them. But for today, Dave, I think at the end of the day, he is a better guy to have in charge just for the morale and just to have the players maybe more on side.
Philip, do you agree with Jack? Do you think one half of the Chuckle brothers can, steady this ship until the end of the season? Did they have the authority that maybe this squad needs?
Well, I mean, he did okay in the matches that he was in charge for whenever Conte was in Italy. I would have preferred to see a new manager bounce, to be honest with you, but I think he's probably as good as we can hope for. I just hope that he has his own mind and doesn't just carry on playing the Conte playbook, that he's got his own ideas and goes for a more attacking form of play tonight, because none of us want to see what we've been watching for the last few months, really, and I think Ryan Mason will probably have an input as well, because Ryan Mason did fairly well on the time he stood in for Jose there before Nuno came along. So I'm hoping that between them, the players respond to them and that they don't have any axe to grind. Like there seems to be an axe to grind with Conte with a number of the players. And I even see in the paper today now, I don't know how true it is, but somebody passed a comment that if Brendan Rodgers and maybe some other guys coming in, the players are going to revolt. We don't want player power to take over the club. So I hope that Stellini and Mason can now generate enough passion tonight to get us to win. Because, I mean, it'll be the most, as Sean said, it'll be the most unlikely team to be in third place. If we win tonight. And the team that's in crisis in third place in the league, it's a bit of a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Massive contradiction in terms, mate. Massive.
Just a quick follow-up question there, Philip. You say, we can't afford to have player power at Tottenham. Do you not think maybe we already have a bit of that going on?
Well, there's a bit of it, certainly, yeah. I mean, okay, and it can be for the good as well as for the bad, But what I want to see now is I don't want some of the players thinking sitting back and saying, I'm not going to bother playing for these two guys. They're only going to be here for the next 10 matches. We've got to have players that want to die for the badge tonight and the next 9 matches after it. Whether we're going to get that is another day's work. Like some of the players that haven't turned up recently need to start turning up. Yeah. And I think Sonny is one of them. And I hate criticizing Sonny, but he needs to, let's have the Sonny of this time last season. Let's have the Harry Kane of this time. Now, Harry Kane literally is keeping us going here with his goals.
Yeah.
We keep relying on him, And we've got to have, and I know we're stretched at the back. Jesus, we're like, just Dave, if you rang up, you'd probably get a game tonight if you went over there. We're so bad at the back, and
they're stopping anybody who's entering the stadium above 6 foot. They're
anyone carrying a pair of boots.
I
was just going to say, bring your boots, lads. You might get a game.
I was just going to say, don't give me ideas. I got a Kane shirt and a Sun shirt. So I might have to venture over. You never know. I might get a game. I'd probably be better than what you see from Dyer, to be honest with you. I know I'm probably about 10 stone heavier than the guy, but you know what? At least I know how to read a game. But look, Neil, we'll bring you in and then we'll get Shawnee in as well on this. Do you think that Stellini and Mason, like Philip and Jack were saying, that they do have the capabilities to steady the ship, sort out the morale, maybe the style of football, get people all sort of going in the one direction, fighting for the same cause? Can they do it?
Yeah, I think they can. I think that they say it was a change is as good as anything I don't know. Oh, I remember the saying anyway. But obviously, there's a slight change, but also continuity is in. They know the way Stellini is because when Conte wasn't there, he dealt with the players. So in a way, it's sort of like a bit of a change, maybe enough of a change to give the players a kick up the backside, but not too much of a change where it's all a bit like what the hell's kind of going to happen, what's going on. So maybe that stability might be something. It's like the players are going to either react 2 ways. They're either going to say, oh, woe is me. It wasn't me. He was talking about being selfish. It was this player. It was that player. Or they're going to pull their socks on, put their boots on and be like, actually, I'm going to prove you wrong, Conte, because I'm not selfish. So, there's going to be 2 trails of thought, in my opinion, that where the players might go. And I'm hoping it's obviously that they pull their socks up, put their boots on and say, listen, I ain't selfish. I'm going to show you. That's what we want, that fight. We want that fight in the players when they come on that pitch tonight. So I'm hoping that Stellini and Mason will bring, like I say, a bit of stability and continuity as well as something a little bit fresher. Maybe they will freshen things up a little bit in how we play. So, yeah, I'm hoping so anyway.
Yeah, let's wait and see. They might change the soap from lavender to something else in the showers, make them feel a bit better. Who knows what's going on at the football club these days.
You don't want lavender. You don't want lavender. Lavender will make you sleepy. That's not what you want.
Well, they're asleep anyway, so maybe we'll switch it to Radox Energize or something like that and get them in the showers before the game. Probably a better way of getting them going. But Shawnee, my man, do you agree with me that Stellini and Mason can do this, or do you think it's a really big ask?
What, just tonight or over the rest of the season?
Well, it looks like they're going to be here for the rest of the season. So between now and the end of the season, can they steady the ship at Tottenham?
I personally think that there's so many more variables outside of Tottenham that Tottenham fans generally are not factoring in to so much of our opinions, right? Like so much of our opinion is based on what's Tottenham doing, who's at fault within Tottenham, where's the opportunity within Tottenham, why isn't someone at Tottenham doing this? But actually a lot of the story that is dictating how Tottenham feel is based and constructed from what's happening outside. And the obvious easiest, not to get off the topic, but the obvious easiest example of that is Arsenal's season, right? If Arsenal are 6th right now and Liverpool are 1st or Chelsea are 1st, I don't think there's not this crisis at Tottenham that everyone says there is. In terms of what happens for the rest of the season, I will stick by the same agenda, the same point here, that I think that a lot of what dictates what happens at the end of the season is going to be based around what happens outside of Tottenham. There's so many amazing games to come. If you look at the fixture list of what's coming in the next 3 or 4 weeks, not only do Tottenham have to play every single one of the teams that we're competing with, but so does everybody else. And you look at some of the games that happened just this weekend, and they were eye-opening. Brighton versus Brentford, one of the greatest games of football you've seen, if not the candidate for the game of the season. Absolute cracker-jacker. But they ended up with a point each. Didn't help either of them. Liverpool, Manchester United against Newcastle. Manchester United, away from home, without Casemiro, are a bottom half of the table team, right? Newcastle at home are a different outfit than where they are at home. Liverpool, first half versus second half football. That's not just a thing that happens at Manchester City. That's a thing that if you actually look into it, and most Tottenham fans don't spend enough time talking or thinking about what's happening with other teams in intricate detail. I think that what's going to happen to Tottenham this season is as much focused on what Tottenham do as it is what's happening outside. For me personally, if Tottenham go about their business tonight, and I'm fascinated, I think tonight's going to be such an interesting game of football. On paper, it's probably got like a 0-0. It could easily be a 0-0 boring draw. You know, with Sean Dyche just sitting there doing his 4-5-1. You got Onana, Doucouré, Guehi, and the other fella who's Max. What's his name? I forget his name. Who's the other fella? Jack. Who's the right winger for Everton? Iwobi. Sorry, Iwobi. Right, Iwobi. Yeah, you got that. You got that brute strength though of a midfield, and he's going to play.
Yeah, I think their strength is in their midfield. Yeah,
it's going to be insane. Right, if we can get a way around that, if we can figure a way around that, then we can win the game. If we don't, we won't. But to me, like this game is going to be a fascinating situation because for the first time, you've got Stellini. Like when Stellini was playing as like caretaker manager before with Ryan Mason at his side, you had a situation where people were saying Tottenham are playing without the shackles on. Right, the players had the shackles taken off. But the guy in charge still had the managerial shackles of Conte on. New kettle of fish tonight. Is Stellini and Mason going to get together and put out the same system, the same formation with the same instructions as what they would have done had Conte been here? If so, then what was the point of getting rid of Conte? Tonight, for the first time, you have a situation where not only can the players play without the shackles, but so can the tacticians, so can the guy at the top, so can Stellini, and so can Mason. And if we go for it, and it figures itself out, it could be a brilliant encounter. I think. Could be a
look,
encounter.
You know, you lead us into the next talking point, and we'll get on to that in 1 second. You know, will the shackles be taken off? It's a big question and a big talking point today. But we've got Moondog. What is going on here? It's going crazy. Here we go. Right. Moondog says, I don't want Rodgers or Potter. I'd rather have Company or the Celtic manager. Look, what I will say is I know Daniel Levy has been a big fan of Rodgers before and wanted him at Tottenham. You know, he's sort of been a big fan since his Swansea days. I would say, me looking at it, I would think he'd probably end up next Tottenham manager. That's just my opinion. That's where I'm at with it. I haven't seen any news today. I don't know what's been in the news, if there's been any fresh links or anything like that.
Who are you saying?
Brendan Rodgers. He's saying
Brendan Rodgers. He was sacked, and Levy has been a long time admirer of Rodgers, and he wanted him at the club before. Now that he's out of a job, I reckon he could be the next guy in charge. I was listening to something on Talk Sport the other day, and I think it was that guy Alan Brazil said that Company has already turned down Tottenham. And then as for the Celtic manager. Look, a lot of people rate this guy. A lot of, the Aussies are all for him. They really want him in charge. Look, I think he's a very good manager. I like the job he's done at Celtic. I just think it's a bit of a gamble.
Steven Gerrard did a good job at Rangers, mate. Come on, we can't like look what he did at Aston Villa.
No, but this is what I'm saying. It's a huge gamble. That's what I'm saying. I'm not advocating for the guy to get the job. I'm saying it's a huge gamble. It's a huge risk. You know, it's a big step up from the Premier League to from the Scottish League to the Premier League, a huge step up. So
even Company is a huge risk. I think
he won't come.
Even Company is a huge risk. He's coming from the Championship at the end. I mean, he changed Burnley around, but he's coming from the Championship up to the Premier League. Like that's
neither of those two will come to Tottenham, surely.
No. I hope that we have better lists, and to be honest. I hope we're looking at better, but you don't blame them right now. At least in this moment in time, Spurs are not an attractive option. Maybe 10 games from now, you never know. But at this moment in time, not an attractive option.
But to be fair, I looked, and Paul O'Keefe says that the Brendan Rodgers links are nonsense. That there's nothing actually properly linking us to Brendan Rodgers. It all just is speculation because he's not got a job. It's a bit speculative. So that's again
because of the past as well.
there'd be nothing to link us because he was only sacked yesterday. I'm just saying that,
No,
I'm
there
just
is.
hazarding a guess that Levy has wanted this guy for quite some time and missed out on the opportunity before. And he's got no job right now, right? So it kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, but my point is there has been links. There's people directly saying that he is someone Tottenham is looking at. So there has been direct links from people saying that. But Paul O'Keefe has actually come out and said that's just speculative. So that's what I'm saying is like people are speculating, I think, more than there's actual proper proof that we've approached him. There's nothing being said that we've approached him.
No,
So
but I think
what
what Dave is saying, Mia, is that Daniel Levy historically was very much interested in him a few years ago. And how I would personally counter that with Dave is you would hope that Daniel Levy reflects on the last 3 or 4 years and sees a little bit of a shift, right? And thinks that what's Brendan Rodgers done. He got the FA Cup. Apart from that, he bottled the Europa League twice. He bottled the Conference League. He hadn't done anything really for Leicester. Leicester are going to go down this season, and they haven't got a squad that needs to go down. They've got far better than one of the bottom three teams. They should not be in the position that they're in. I did say, and Mr. Box Office, if you're watching, I did say to you last season when you kept reminding everybody about, what about Leicester, bruv? What about Leicester, bruv? I said, yeah, Leicester are going to go down next season, and they are right in the midst of it. So
get to know.
Little bit, and that's it. I'm back to you in the studio. But my point being that I feel like you'd hope that Daniel Levy would look at Brendan Rodgers' recent history and say, he ain't the same Brendan Rodgers in terms of gravitas as he was 4 years ago, right? I think that's got to be a fair comment.
Let's wait and see. Philip, just before we move on, my man, Rodgers, is he a guy you would take at Tottenham?
Only if he brings James Maddison in his back pocket. No.
And Harvey Barnes.
No, I don't think so. Like, I mean, look, the way I'm fixed about them, I've had so many names mentioned for managerial. God almighty, even Doris the tea lady's been mentioned. I will support any manager that comes to Tottenham, right? Until he fecks up. But if Brendan Rodgers comes, he comes. I hope he doesn't come. But I'd like to see a new manager coming in that's fresh to the Premier League, that hasn't got any prejudices. That's why I'm looking at this guy in the Feyenoord boy, Arne Slot, who has done remarkable work at Feyenoord.
Yeah.
And, I would say could be a dark horse here. But whether we're not going to get anybody now till the end of the season anyway, so we just make the most of what we got. But no, Brendan Rodgers, his level will be a mid to lower club, league table club, not Tottenham. Not Tottenham.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll wait and see. And look, Moondog, I definitely don't want Potter. I told everybody. Everyone said, no, this guy's going to thrive at Chelsea. Told everyone, watch it crash and burn quicker than you can say boo. And that's exactly what happened. Crash, burn, and the guy's been showing up. And this is what we've got to understand. There's a big difference from taking over a smaller club and coming into a bigger club where everything is just amplified. There's so much more to your job, more media duties, more everything else to do. And it's a big, big ask.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here and say that although Potter didn't do very well at Chelsea, I don't think that the way that it was handled at Chelsea helped. The fact that they just chucked in 30 extra players and said, here we go, deal with this, isn't like the way that he went about it was really,
what I would say,
really haphazard.
What I would say is most fans said this guy was the all singing, all dancing Messiah. So he should be able to handle that the way people were going on. And he didn't. People they got it wrong.
I just think that Chelsea got it wrong. I don't know how anyone would handle what he did, because what he did was irresponsible towards the way of the club. Like, I'm not trying to stick up for Chelsea because I really don't give a damn, but the fact is that what he did, Chelsea supporters are going mad about it. They're going absolutely mad the way that he's dealt with it and what he's done, because he made all the decisions when it came to the players, and he was like, you can have a contract now, you can have a contract, and you can have a contract. He just handed that contract to fun. Like, literally, it was mad what he did. It wasn't very good for the club, and Chelsea supporters are fuming about it. They're not happy the way he dealt with it.
But the Chelsea fans were still shouting for Potter to be sacked yesterday on Saturday.
But the thing is, he never had a chance of going in there in the first place. He never had a chance of going in there and succeeding in the first place, let alone adding what Todd Bowley put on top of him.
I think a lot of the players too felt that he was beneath them as a manager. He felt that they wanted a better manager at Chelsea, and I heard rumblings that there was a lot of dressing room discontent at Chelsea in the last few matches. Like his team selections would lead me to believe he wasn't fully in charge of things there.
Look,
and now he's paid the price.
That's another thing I also said. When you're at these big clubs and you've got elite players winning things, you got to bring in a manager that these guys respect. Because if not, you see exactly what happened this season, and that's why I think we've got to be careful who we call in to take this job at Tottenham Hotspur. But big up, Moondog, my man. Really appreciate support. Jacko, what have you got there, my man?
DJ Samuel celebrating 6 months as a Flat Cap member here, Dave. He's saying, great live stream as always. Big yourself up, DJ. One and only local man. And then we also have a huge spree here from the likes of Truth Sets Free here, Dave. Wow. I mean, he's going to maybe make the likes of Jacob very, very busy tonight if Jacob's free to do the fan show, or one of us, whoever's doing it, is going to be a busy one, thanks to the one and only Truth Sets Free. We have Wisdom here, Dave. XX Wisdom has been given a super chat. Wisdom Wolf. Kevin Ferguson has been given a membership. Rohan Kumar given a membership. Cockeyed Steve, the one and only Pedro Porro fan, has been given a membership. Hisson Bluff has been given a membership. It looks like Leighton Evelyn, Dave, your one and only arch nemesis, can come on and give you an earful, has been given a membership. We have Chris Spurs as well joining us, the one and only P Dubs, Dave, and I highlighted one of P Dubs' comments as well, saying, what's up, boys? Lovely to see all of you. The hot tub is being cleaned out and new water put in today. Hopefully it'll be like Spurs, new change. Hopefully new Spurs. Well, P Dubs, we'll be seeing you from the hot tub hopefully tonight, my friend. Jeff Ives has also been given one, Dave. And then the likes of Danilo Lavini as well, the one and only Danilo, and then Jacob of USA Spurs. I'm going to give him one as well, Dave. So there you are. So many joining the fan show list today, Dave. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a long night.
Love it. And hopefully that replicates itself into more and more people coming on these fantastic fan shows to have your say on all things Tottenham. And I want every single one of you who's been one of them lucky recipients to, big up Truth Set You Free. Just let everybody else know he doesn't pick them. They just give them out at random. So everybody, big up Truth Set You Free. What a man and what a legend. And really appreciate the support, brother. You're a top guy. Everyone, make sure you say thank you to him if you've been the beneficiary. And big up P-Dubs. We've got Phil Coy says 3-0 Spurs, Porro, Kane and Son. Come on, let's go. Do you know what? I really hope Porro goes on and has another good game because he'll just keep shining. I famously said it the other day and Jack clipped it and put it up on one of the YouTube shorts. The guy would hit a midget stick from 60 yards. That's how good this guy is. Absolutely unbelievable. Big up, Phil. Hopefully he gets on the score sheet today. And do you know what? It'd be nice to see Sonny get back to his best as well, my man. And Adrian Tria says, wonder is Stellini allowed to phone Conte at half-time?
Oh, no. No.
I doubt it. Look, the guy's gone. He's completely away from the football club. It's all in Stellini's hands now. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he's got his own ideas or let's see if he's just continue on from the staple of Conte, my man. Look, tonight won't give us all the answers, but I'm sure it'll give us a lot of what we need to know or what to expect between now and the end of the season. Big up, Adrian Chia. Please make that script easy on us tonight, brother. I really can't do another hard slog, my man. But look, Jacko, we'll start with you and work our way around the panel again. Sean sort of alluded to it about Stellini. Will the shackles be off? And that's what I'm asking you, Jack. With Stellini and Mason in charge for the rest of the season, do you think the shackles will come off and we could see Tottenham finally play that expansive football that so many fans want to see?
It feels like we're going to need to see the shackles come off against a team like Everton, who are pretty much the definition of shackles on type football. So somebody's going to have the shackles off in this type of game. But I feel like Dave Stellini did sort of allude to some type of changes tactically. I did watch back his press conference, and he did kind of, when I think it was Ali Gold who asked him basically a question on the tactics, and he sort of alluded to making changes here and there, looking at things maybe differently on a game-by-game basis. I think with maybe the best respect to maybe Antonio Conte, he just sort of said, yeah, maybe he might consider some sort of tactical changes. I don't think that means we're going to be seeing a 4-2-3-1 or anything like for this game, but it maybe does mean perhaps we could see some sort of changes in how certain players play or where certain players stand in the pitch or how certain movements and passing patterns are kind of, orchestrated. Dave, it could be, a huge difference because it did look like he kind of alluded to making some changes, at least from what I heard from his press conference. So who knows, Dave? Maybe the shackles could be off, but I would say there's going to need to be some type of creative, free-flowing football of some type, because, I mean, Everton are going to put every single man behind the ball, and we know that.
Yeah. No, look, interesting. It's something for us to look out for tonight, Jacko. So let's see what we can spot during the watch long. It'll be interesting. Philip, you think we might see the likes of Eric Dyer jumping from centre back into midfield like he sort of done against City? Do you think you'll see us press higher up the field as well?
I suppose a lot depends on what way Everton want to play this. If Everton want to sit back tonight and be the away team, then hardly no. But I think what I want to see is the three forward guys really having a go. Really. But my worry there is it's the old creativity problem. We don't have anybody in midfield yet, and I'm hoping that Porro can provide some of the bullet. I mean, Porro's crossing so far has been excellent.
Is my saying true, Philip? Is it true? Can Porro hit a midget stick from 60 yards?
Oh, absolutely, from 100 yards. Never mind 60. I just love the guy's attitude. Like when Richarlison isn't playing, he's that shithousery boy. He's going to be the boy that's going to provide us. So I'm hoping that we get the crosses in from him. I just don't want to see us sitting back and letting Everton come at us, inviting Everton to come at us. Because Everton are second bottom of the league. They're not good. They're not in good shape. These are the sort of teams we should be going away to and blowing away for fun. And this time last season, we were doing it. We did it to Leeds. We did it to Villa. Remember the 2-4-0s around this time last season? We need to repeat that tonight to really get the confidence flowing back in the team and show the lads that Conte ball is gone. Stellini ball is in.
First ball is everything, Phil. First goal. Sorry, not first ball. The first goal.
Yeah, everything. Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to wait until half time or the 70th minute. Like, just go out, hit the ground running, start like your life depends on it.
Yeah.
Get an early goal in the first 20 minutes, and then you can calm down, right? But like Everton are gonna you suck the wind out of that crowd. They're gonna be right into it tonight. And Dyche ball. Look, I mean, people like resonate Dyche ball with some level of like incredible excellence. Let's be honest, he's a master of like galvanizing a little bit of a relief from a team that are on the way out. That's what his thing is. But he ain't like you don't want. No one would be happy if Sean Dyche came into Tottenham. So let's recognize that he ain't some god. He's just a guy that organizes a team well. But you know what? He's organizing a team well that has played very badly all season. That is his remit. That is his mandate. But there's a reason why they played badly all season. And that's because they're not very good at keeping goals out. So if the front three, to Phil's point, can get behind it and figure it out. And I genuinely think that Sonny, even though Sonny was the first Tottenham player to come out of respect and say, I'm sorry to the manager for letting the situation, for me not doing my part. Like, he's the guy that now should be going, the tactics didn't suit me, asking me to come back and receive the ball back to goal 30 yards behind. Hopefully now Stellini's going to come and do something and let me have my shackles off. As much as I respect him for stepping up first and being the first guy to say, thank you, sorry, see you later, good luck. Actually, he should be probably one of the happiest players because he's now got a new lease of life and can resurrect his season. Let me just
ask you a follow question up on that, Shawnee. Do you think we'll get the answers tonight?
My doorbell's ringing. My doorbell's ringing. So yeah, I'll
talk to me.
That's Pedro Porro, by the way. He just delivered a package.
To see Sean coming in with the ball on his chest. Absolutely love it. Mia. So Sean was talking there a bit about Sonny. Do you think someone like Sonny? Do you think we'll know tonight whether it's just a problem we have down the left-hand side in general, left side centre back, left wing back, and the left winger, or do you think we will see a rejuvenated Sonny tonight? Will tonight give us that answer?
I don't know if it
or the left-hand side of Tottenham.
I don't know if just in one game, if Sonny all of a sudden is going to be that rejuvenated, that he's going to come on sparkling with rainbows and being like, woohoo, I'm free. I don't know. I don't think it's quite going to be like that. but we might see him improve slightly where it's maybe a different type. Maybe the adjustments slightly on the tactics will mean that he will play what favours him a little bit more. So running down those channels is a bit more him. So maybe that's something that if we get to do a bit more, that it'll favour him a little bit more. And he has looked a bit more confident lately. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be the magic cure-all for Sonny. I don't think so, personally. I don't.
Interesting. I'm going to come back to you in 1 second, Mia. I just want to get Philip's take on it as well. Philip, what do you think? Do you think it's just Sonny being in poor form, or do you think it's an issue down that left-hand side in general? Because you've seen, down that left-hand side, we've had a lot of problems this season in general.
Yeah, I think Perisic and Son seem to get in each other's way down that left-hand side whenever Perisic goes forward. I think no player is a machine. You can't keep throwing out good performances season after season. Every player goes through a bad patch. And I think that's just what Sonny's going through at the minute. But it's been frustrating. Like, he came on against Leicester in September there after not doing very much, scored a hat-trick, and we thought, here we go. Sonny's on the march again. Didn't happen. He scores goals in irregular intervals, and we always think he's back on the road again. Now, he scored against... didn't he score against Southampton? Or did he not? No, he didn't.
Yes, he did from a Pedro Porro cross, right?
He did. That's right, yeah.
Or was it Forest that he scored against?
No, Forest he scored against, I think. Yeah. Like, we just figure out he's back again. I think the guy... Now, I think his grandmother died there over the week, or his grandfather died there a couple of days ago. So that may have an effect on him. So don't rule that out as being a factor tonight if he doesn't have a great game, because I know he's very much family. But I'm hoping it's just a form thing. And if there was an issue with him and Conte, or the way Conte was playing, that's gone now. If he should be able to get the shackles off and move on, like what he did this time last season, scoring goals for fun. That's what we want to see from Sonny tonight. And hopefully, maybe an away game against Everton might not be the one to flourish. But we have a home game against, is it Brentford next week? Is it Brentford we're playing next home game?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the crowd behind him, willing him on, I think we will see the best of Sonny at some stage before the end of the season. And let's face it, we need it. We can't keep relying on Harry Kane to knock the goals in. We need another one. And we need a few more goals from midfield as well.
Yeah, we definitely need some more from the midfield to chip
What was the follow-up? What was the follow-up, Dave, to that question that the Mia asked? I didn't get to hear it. What was the question first and foremost?
I was just saying that with Sonny, do you think...
sorry, Phil, it's Brighton, not Brentford next week. Sorry, by the way.
Brighton, sorry. I knew it was one of the two of them. Yeah, not an easy match though.
No.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. What was the question, mate?
I was just saying, do you think tonight will give us answers whether it's just a problem down our left-hand side in general that we've had all season that is contributing to maybe Son not having the same form as last season, or if Son does perform tonight, does that sort of show that, or if he doesn't perform tonight, does that show the issue is more Sonny than it is our left-hand side in general?
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's so many more variables to that question than just that one of those answers, right? Like, would it have been different if it wasn't Everton? And what's the formation that's getting put out? I want to see Danjuma get some minutes. I really do, and I think that hopefully we'll see some of that. I'm not saying that I want Sonny to be dropped. I want Sonny to start and smash it, but I'd like to see an environment where Danjuma gets at least 20 minutes. Otherwise, I feel terrible for that guy. He was this close to joining the team that we're playing tonight.
Yeah, let him play against the team.
Let him play against the team that he was supposed to be there.
I don't. He could have very easily been in a relegation battle. I don't feel sorry for him whatsoever. But Mia, just to get back to you, my dear, do you think we might even see a different formation tonight? Anything different from Stellini and Mason in terms of tactics or that?
I think with the formation, I don't feel like he's going to change it. I think, and the thing is, I was saying this when I did my video with the preview, was because we've got so many injuries as well, it's going to be really difficult, especially in that back line. So I feel like he's going to stick to the same formation, but maybe move us up a little bit on the pitch so we're not we're not just sitting back. But I don't think that Everton are going to. We're not going to be needing to do that. I think Everton are going to allow us to have the ball and be like break us down, which plays into what obviously how Dyche tends to play. So I don't think that that's going to be an issue, but it's going to be breaking them down that's going to be the issue. But yeah, I don't think that he will change. I don't think he will change it, if I'm honest.
Breaking them down is definitely going to be a tough one tonight. I think tonight's game is going to require a lot of patience from fans, players, and the management tonight. If we're expecting the usual Sean Dyche tactics, you're spot on there, Mia. KPV, new channel member as well. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you are keeping well, brother.
And then also as well, alongside KPV, Mr. Bill has been given a membership, Dave. And then also the likes of Christoph has been given one, and then Adnan has been given one as well, everybody. So again, plenty of new faces to chat to, Dave. Plenty of new opinions. Maybe those who've also been waiting to, give us an earful about something that, we probably, are quite stubborn on, for example, where we've been on Conte or Paratici, any people that maybe have disagreed with us in the past and haven't had that opportunity, come on and have your say. Take advantage, please.
Exactly. Big yourself up, my man. I'm going to throw the next question to you, and then I got a missed call off my mother, so I may ring her back to see just to make sure it's not an emergency. But so the next question is what I don't get, me personally, about the sacking of Conte, guys, is that we have kept his assistant Christian Stellini in charge. The robotic football was the biggest issue for the fans. So why have we stuck with someone who, is from the staple of the Conte era? I'm going to leave you with that, and I'll be back in 1 minute.
I feel like I'll start off by saying I think the reason Stellini was sort of kept in charge was the fact that maybe it wasn't the case that sort of this team could just be uprooted and just take on a whole new set of tactics and a whole new formation and a whole new basically everything. A lot of people said it's actually sort of unrealistic to maybe expect sort of Enrique, Pochettino, whatever, to sort of walk into this team and sort of change the whole ethos of how we play, the whole playing style, after how everything has been sort of drilled into them this whole season. What might be better is just sort of to tweak a few things, maybe not to sort of uproot the entire system, but just tweak a few things. And also as well, you never know with kind of a new manager, they might sort of isolate some players, might worsen the situation that we already may have with the likes of, some of our bigger stars. But I don't know. I mean, Philip, what do you think? Do you feel like there's a reason that Stellini, I feel like, personally, when it was first happening, I was saying we should have brought in, I think, more of an elite manager right away. We should have had a replacement, but some have said it's a bit unrealistic to bring in one of these top class managers for the last 10 games of the season. And then also, will the players even be able to handle, all the sort of, tactical changes and everything as well?
Yeah, I think ideally we would have wanted a new manager in, but I think Levy has probably been realistic enough to know that a lot of managers won't come to Spurs to see how things pan out at the end of the season. I think the reason Stellini has been kept on is for a bit of continuity, because let's face it, wherever Conte goes next, Stellini will be going with him. And Conte's probably going nowhere for the rest of the season, so Stellini might as well stay at Tottenham and, and do what he's probably quite good at, and rather than leaving just Ryan Mason in charge. So I'd say that was, now if Conte was going straight into a new job, I have no doubt Stellini would not be at the club anymore. But I think the fact that he's 3 months to kill, and he's going to kill it at Tottenham, and hopefully he does a good job, because this will look good on his CV. If he can get Tottenham into the Champions League, I'm sure he wants to go and manage on his own at some stage. This will be looking good for him. So I think that's probably one of the reasons. Plus, the players seem to like the guy. So I don't think there's any reason why they'd have a gripe against him for staying. Hopefully not, anyway. We'll find out tonight.
Yeah, look, I hear you. But, Mia, we'll go on to you with this one as well. Look, surely this wasn't in the, this is what many fans envisaged when they wanted Conte sacked, right? They wanted sort of a permanent manager in place after this. Why do you think the club have gone for the same, when they know fans are unhappy with the style of football, but gone for someone from Conte's camp?
Because I think what Jack was alluding to, like stability, is unrealistic probably to get a manager in. Maybe when they're looking around at managers might be dubious about coming, so they wanted something there for the stability stakes. And the reason I've heard that Mason, it wasn't just Mason as well, was because his missus is due to give birth any moment. So he might have to go off. So you can't leave Mason solely in charge and then go, oh, sorry, Mason can't be there because his missus is having a baby. So I think there's lots of different factors and reasons to why it was done, although it is very unusual for this to happen. But I think, because I was listening to Matt Law, I think it was Matt Law said it, and he was saying basically that there was probably some sort of agreement done, and that's what took so long with Conte in saying that he is leaving. And part of it was this agreement to keep Stellini and the backroom staff. So that's probably part of the deal, and I do think that was part of the deal. And I think they did do it for stability reasons, because they knew if they couldn't get another manager in quick, you can't leave just Mason with the baby due soon. So I suppose it was, like I say, different kind of factors to why they chose to do it this way.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. So, Shawnee, Philip, Mia, and Jack have all gone with for stability reasons, but Leighton Evelyn says they've done it because it's cheaper. But you were one man that was calling for Stellini ball. But why do you think they opted to go with someone from Conte's camp if style of football was the problem, and what we have seen from Stellini so far was a continuation of what Conte was doing?
Oh, because the outcome, like making another change to manager that's on a 5-year contract or a 4-year, like the next manager's not going to be on an 18-month stint, in my opinion. It'll be on a 3, 4, 5-year plan. That takes time, and it was unexpected to a degree, right? It wasn't. I think people that are like on the Levy outside, I've seen. It's bonkers. I saw it yesterday on Twitter. I saw a lot of people, and there was a bunch of likes behind it as well and retweets saying that Daniel Levy has missed a chance to sign Nagelsmann. Get out of our club. Once again, Daniel Levy makes a massive mistake. Get out of our club. And I'm like, what? Hang on a second. So not only is Daniel Levy to blame for everything that happens within Tottenham, he's also to blame. Oh, hang on. I can hear. Oh, what's that noise?
I don't know. Go on. You're all right.
Someone's microphone's really close. That all of a sudden it's now Daniel Levy's fault for other clubs making their own managerial decisions in the same weekend, and that Tottenham can't act on it that swiftly. Like, Nagelsmann hasn't joined Chelsea, but even if he does, it doesn't mean that Daniel Levy had the opportunity to. It's such a bonkers, absolute, like, it's ridiculous. I don't even know how to even articulate how strongly I feel about the ludicrousness of blaming Daniel Levy for the fact that Nagelsmann hasn't signed for Tottenham yet and that may sign for Chelsea. Like, there's so many stepping stones before that. The reason why Daniel Levy has given it to Ryan Mason and to Stellini in the short term is, first and foremost, he was caught a little bit unawares by Conte saying those things. It wasn't necessarily a planned removal. It was a reaction to Conte forcing his hand. And wouldn't you rather like, because I can imagine the same people, if he suddenly pivoted and went and got Nagelsmann, I can imagine the same people saying, well, there's clearly no plan there. That's just an opportunistic signing. Once again, where's the philosophy? Where's the ideology? Where is the plan that's being articulated? He's just jumping at the gun to make an opportunistic signing. He's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. I'm happy that he's taking the time and say, let's have some air of stability whilst we sit behind the scenes, not air our dirty laundry in public, like what happened after Jose, when we went and it made it publicly aware we were going after Gattuso or after the other fella, Paulo Fonseca, and the reaction from the media, the reaction from the fans, they had to walk away. That whole thing was an embarrassment that ended up with Nuno, which was even more embarrassing. I don't want that again. So I said on my channel, like, I want them to take their time here. I want them to go behind the scenes and figure out what is it that they want to do. And if that means putting Stellini and Mason in charge at the end of the season, okay, there's never a perfect scenario. You have to, there's going to be additional risk there. And the additional risk is obviously that you're going to sacrifice top four, right? If the players don't want to play for Stellini or Mason, then maybe, we're going to end up 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. But you have to make a calculated decision based on risk management. And for me, the better risk management here is for them to sit back, figure out what it is that they want Tottenham to be over the next 3 or 4 years. Do not make a snapdash, a trigger, a shoot from the hip situation. So give themselves until the end of the season. And especially with what's happened with Paratici, if you want the next director of football to come in, you have to wait until the 19th. You have to wait until the 19th to see what the result of the appeal is. If the appeal is positive and it's overturned, then you know what? Paratici comes back in and everything's back on track with the Paratici plan, right? He can then have a fundamental say in who the next manager is and should be. If he's not, then Daniel Levy should probably want to identify the next director of football and then let them have some input into it. Because if he doesn't, whatever happens, if Daniel Levy picks the next manager now, then the people that want Daniel Levy out will say, there is another example of the director of football being meaningless because it's Daniel Levy doing Daniel Levy. He's got to have his foot on the accelerator and his hand on the steering wheel. So it's better to wait and see what happens on the 19th. It's better to then pivot from there. And in an ideal world, you either let Paratici or whoever the next director of football is to have some input on who the next manager is. And people that want an otherwise decision are moaning when we're slow, and they'll moan when we're fast. And to me, that just shows that there's a positivity bias and a confirmation bias to the frustrations around Daniel Levy. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't.
Now when you say about talking about other clubs, you do know that Chelsea found out, all of their players found out via Instagram, via social media, that their manager got sacked. And you think our club's in a mess? Imagine if we did that. Like, that's phenomenally bad, the way they dealt with that. And people say that we're bad, but when you look at other clubs, how they deal with stuff, they also make really rubbish decisions on it all. Yeah. So I
think the difference, the reason why I kind of struggle to compare us to Chelsea is because Chelsea have had a new owner this season. It was always going to, dip before it gets any better, whereas we haven't had that. We've had stability.
Well, what a disaster he's been, though, Dave.
But they found out
what a disaster Todd Bowley has been. Sorry, Mia, 1 second. Yeah. What an absolute shit show he's been. Those people, like, I see the boy, what's his name, Leighton Evelyn, going after me again for defending Daniel Levy. I'm not defending Daniel Levy. I'm portraying the other side of the argument, because every other channel and every other person in Tottenham in the community wants to represent one side of the argument. And you know what? The truth is always somewhere in between. So I represent the devil's advocate potentially, but no one's talking about the reality that if Daniel Levy was to act swiftly, he'd be criticised by Leighton Evelyn. He'd be criticised by people that represent the same thought processes of Leighton Evelyn, right? He's getting criticised for not acting quickly, and he'd be criticised if he was acting quickly.
Well, I think where many fans are pissed off, though, Sean, and everyone here in general, I think, is because, let's be realistic and let's be honest here. Most of those who were calling for Conte out did not envisage Stellini and Mason taking charge at the end of the season. They thought we were getting a permanent manager, and I think that's where people are getting so pissed off and frustrated with it. I think that's why.
But they might. Well, mate, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, mate. No, I disagree with that. First and foremost.
Well, hang on. I never heard any fans say, let's get Conte out and accept Stellini and Mason to the end of the season. I didn't hear anyone say that. They wanted him gone. They wanted
but not in the environment that it happened, mate.
In charge. Let's be honest about it.
Not in the environment that it happened. No one predicted that Conte would just throw the club under the bus. Remember, mate, if it wasn't for the worst VAR decision, preceded by the worst refereeing decision of the entire season, that nobody spoke about, not a single person spent a single second talking about, because everyone was dominating their focus around what happened with Conte's ridiculous petulant outburst. Right? If that hadn't happened, if we won that game 3-2, Conte's still in charge. Conte is still in charge of this team, and we're third in the Premier League. It wouldn't have happened. It was because of Conte's reaction that created this snowballing effect. Nothing else. And then, of course, on top of that, FIFA jumping the gun, expediting the timeline for a ban that should not have been impacted until due process has taken place. So, like, for Tottenham fans to be held account who wanted Conte out but aren't happy with the current situation, Daniel Levy's getting the boot either way. Like, he's getting the boot in the face from everybody, but he didn't create this environment. He didn't ask for this. That was Conte who manufactured and calculated this scenario.
Yeah, look, Conte accelerated his sacking, but the reality is when everyone wanted him sacked before this season was out, regardless whether Conte done it or not, and no fan wanted Stellini or Mason put in charge. No one said it. No one said sack Conte and let's have stability with Stellini and Mason to the end of the season. I think that's why fans are so annoyed with the situation, because when people wanted Conte out, they expected the next manager to roll in here, not sit here with caretaker.
But that can be a bit unrealistic when the situation wasn't really going to probably happen.
How can it be unrealistic when anyone that called for Conte out never said we'll accept?
Hold on, can you just let me finish instead of talking over me all the time, and let me finish my point, Dave? Then you'll understand why I'm saying it. So my point would be is that we didn't expect him to get sacked at this point in the season. If we would have had preparations and had more time, that might have been easier to set up. But the fact is that we didn't, because Conte decided to have that outburst, which the club didn't know that he was going to do. So like Sean said, it was an unpredicted situation and unprecedented. And I was realistic in the fact that getting a new manager in for the last 10 games, I didn't think would be that realistic. So I wasn't, I was thinking to myself, well, the situation is occurred and now we have to deal with it the best that we can. And having stability with them is the best that we can do right now. So
I think it's shying away from what people called for, though, by saying Conte got himself sacked. When you call for Conte to be sacked, and people are calling for it here and now, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen?
I thought that Conte was going to go by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Well, it's all well and good saying, Conte got himself sacked and this is the best scenario. But when the people, fair enough. But when you guys call for him to be sacked, when most people call for the guy to be sacked, never see him sacking himself. What did you think was going to happen?
I thought there'd be a period like this. I'm okay with this. I said it 1,000 times on my channel. Yeah. I am okay with patience being the virtue here. The early bird sometimes catches the worm. Like, good things come to those who wait. For every analogy that exists out there that suggests that you should always, that one thing is better, there's another equal and opposite quotation that suggests the otherwise. For me personally, if Daniel Levy was to jump the gun, I'm going to say it again and I'll say it for the last time. If Daniel Levy was to jump the gun and pull the trigger and pay Nagelsmann whatever he wanted to get the thing in, right, to appease everybody immediately, you know what would happen? There'd be some people that would go, fucking Nagelsmann, awesome, we're cooking again. And the same people who are Levy out would say, there's no plan. There's no plan. Nagelsmann was only available 24 hours ago. The fact that we've hired him right now shows you yet again that there is no fucking plan. Levy out. They will use any stick they can. The fact that we didn't sign Nagelsmann, the fact that we did sign Nagelsmann, it doesn't matter. You can't change the minds of made-up men, right? It's a reality. I've got a book called The Laws of Human Nature. I recommend everyone reads it. People who are entrenched in their opinions will always find a reason to hit the stick or to pick up a stick and hit the fucking, what's the thing that the Mexicans hit? What's the donkey, right?
Pinata.
Hit the pinata. They will always hit the pinata with whatever they can. And Daniel Levy to them is a pinata. That's all they are. They need to find something to hit him with.
The thing where I'm getting at is look, it's always going to go to Daniel Levy because the majority of people who wanted Conte out, they did exactly. Want a caretaker manager in charge. It's all well. Listen. It's all well and good sitting here going now. Yeah, I expected this to happen, but no one can say that because they never mentioned it when they asked for Conte out. They said, "I want Conte out. I want the next guy to come in and play attacking football." No one said, "Hang on here a minute. We might have to take an interim charge."
Equally, mate,
nobody. So it's all well and good saying that.
Nobody said that there'd be someone.
Nobody said it.
Nobody said, Dave. Nobody, equally to your point, no one either articulated that there should be someone ready-made to come in the second that Conte goes.
Yes, they did. They said they wanted to attack the manager in here. So they thought the next manager was going to come in here.
But no one was saying who. No one was saying when. No one was saying how.
Going to be in charge. If people thought Stellini and Mason were going to be in charge, when they were calling for Conte out, they would have sat there and backed up the rest of their point with that. Nobody did.
So you're saying that people are. So what are you saying? The people that wanted Conte out are now regretting it because we've got Stellini.
No, I'm not saying they're regretting it. But I'm saying, they're sitting here and defending the likes of the Stellini and Mason appointment, but nobody saw it coming when they were calling for Conte out.
That's a caretaker role, mate. It's a common theme.
But nobody
has a caretaker.
People said, get rid of Conte and play attacking football, getting a manager that's going to come in here and play attacking football. No one thought that Stellini.
No one gave a timeline for it.
And that's why fans are pissed off.
No one gave a timeline for it, mate. Every single time Tottenham have lost a manager mid-season, there's a caretaker that comes in for a period. To suggest that Tottenham fans weren't prepared for that is disingenuous. I think that everyone knows how it works.
When they were calling for
And it's
manager out.
more about,
right?
but
I don't think that's the case.
But your point is more. Your point is more because. But your point is more because you didn't want Conte out, and you're disgruntled about the people who wanted Conte out, and that's not a fair point to make when you're trying to prove your argument. Yeah.
Hang on.
I'm not. No,
I actually agree. I actually agree with Mia.
No.
Because you're not putting words in my mouth either. Because you're saying things that I didn't say about Stellini, so you're putting words in my mouth too.
When I said most people,
no, but exactly. But you're mentioning about people who wanted Conte out. But you're saying about Conte out. So you're making about Conte out, people. I'm somebody who said I wanted Conte out. So that includes me in that thing, isn't it? That includes me.
No, you're putting words. You're putting words into my mouth. I never said you, and you're making it personal. The generalization is, and this is facts. Go back and watch all the streams where people were calling for Conte out. Not one person said, "Hang on a minute here, guys. We might have to have an interim charge."
Why do they have to say that? Why do they have to say that to make the point?
Back and trying to act like they thought this was going to happen.
No. Why do they have? No. See, now you're doing what you're accusing me of doing. That why does anyone have to explicitly state that the only reason I'm Conte out is because I expect Daniel Levy to have a ready-made replacement to come in the very same day that Conte is sacked, even despite the fact that Conte was the manufacturer and the architect of this whole entire thing. And I think Mia does have a point, Dave, that the point you're making, she might not be saying this about you specifically, but a lot of people that have this argument being presented are people that were not Conte out. The reason why they're moaning now is because they are upset that Conte left.
Not a fair question to point out.
It's a fair question to ask, but it's a fair question to ask, but it's a bad assumption to make, is what I'd say.
Well, I don't think so, because the evidence is there to back me up. No one said we were going to go through this period. Nobody.
Why do you have to? It's obvious.
Then my point's also a fair point. And then people who are disgruntled about it now is because they didn't want Conte out, and that is a fair point to make.
It is a fair point to make, yeah.
I'm just saying that nobody envisaged this caretaker charge, and now everyone's acting like they're seeing it coming. Bullshit. Anyway, Philip, over to you, man. What's your thoughts on this? You've been quiet for a long time.
I didn't like to interrupt.
I love a good argument. It's great.
I think, let's face it, Conte effectively sacked himself.
Yeah. By
that outburst on the Saturday night after the Southampton game. I mean, I've done enough work with contracts and stuff over my work period to know that there's the stipulations built into people's contracts that you don't, discuss confidential matters outside the office, or it's kept in-house. To go public like that it was only a matter of time before he left. And so effectively he sacked himself. Now, I don't know this thing about caretaker manager. I'd hope we get an interim manager in, but let's face it, Daniel Levy didn't know that Nagelsmann was going to be sacked nearly the same day as Conte.
Exactly.
He that totally came out of the blue. He probably didn't have time to line up a new manager. And if you think about it now, he's probably taken the right way of doing things. A knee-jerk appointment could come back to bite us in the ass in due course.
100%.
Let's wait and see what happens at the end of the season. Our league position will determine what caliber of manager we get, in my opinion. Because let's face it, Nagelsmann or Slot or any of these guys are not going to come if Tottenham are not at least in the Europa League. And even that might be good enough for some of them. They want the Champions League. So, we're going to have to wait and see and hope that the Stellini and the guys can do what we did last season. We were outsiders from the top four last season. To listen to the likes of Paul Merson and stuff at the minute, we're not even in the race for it this year. We think Tottenham are totally out of it. Let's prove those bastards wrong. Because I'm sick of these guys running down Tottenham when you've got Chelsea and Liverpool in far worse state than we are, and it's all about Tottenham. The whipping boys of the Premiership. So let's prove 100%. Everybody wrong now. Stellini and Mason, do your job, and then the managerial situation will take care of itself in the summer.
The way I see it is that, at the end of the day, I was very stubbornly and kind of ignorantly, maybe to some probably, Conte in, as well as Paratici and etc. So it's just sort of, I didn't really ever ask for Conte to go. I was willing to kind of suffer through whatever we were suffering through with him. But it did feel like, for me at least, is that if we were to probably sack Conte, it wasn't going to probably happen in maybe the circumstances that it did happen. Like it did happen all of a sudden, like kind of Sean had said, where we did actually end up drawing that game very unexpectedly. It all just sort of happened in like 2 hours. It's like he kind of just sort of blow up. There's a lot of things that we're finding out about now that were happening behind the scenes that, of course, maybe led to him kind of boiling like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of us expected it to a degree. I think we all thought it was going to sort of maybe somehow transpire a bit more kind of predictably than how it did. And so it did maybe then mean that there was going to probably be some sort of interim manager, some sort of caretaker manager for the time period. Where I was a bit upset was finding out the fact that it is Stellini and Mason for the rest of the season. I've been somewhat convinced by the fact that like it is maybe better to just have some sense of stability with these players that don't really react as much to the tactics or the training. They seem to react more to kind of the personal kind of side of managers. And that's maybe something that Daniel Levy has either cued in on, and he's also as well maybe a bit reluctant to probably bring in somebody for a huge expense as well as fire Conte for a huge expense. So I think that plays a part as well. But if you ask me, I think there's a variety of reasons why actually we did actually get stuck, I think, with Stellini and Mason. I don't even know if it is as much of like a decision. I think we did get stuck because probably maybe we didn't want to push as hard as we wanted to bring in a manager. We didn't maybe do it at all costs. But I do think it also is just the fact that, let's be honest, like kind of Philip alluded to, how many managers do really want to come into this situation with 10 games left of the season, also with maybe no Champions League guaranteed yet, also no future of Harry Kane guaranteed, no future of Sonny guaranteed, etc. There's a lot of things that do seem like kind of a bit unanswered at Spurs. So why would anybody just come in and save us? So I think maybe it is the case that we were doomed or damned to be left with sort of like a Stellini Mason scenario. I didn't expect it though to be for the rest of the season. That's to be honest. But I have been convinced why maybe we are doing that, just for some reasons that are kind of logical and other reasons that maybe are not as logical, just maybe more having to do with how just we are run as a football club.
Well, there you are, everybody. There's your answers. Joseph says they saw that we are still in top 4 and didn't want to risk changing the whole system again. Yeah, I can understand that. Like I said, I can understand it. I don't agree with it. I can understand it, but I do not agree with it. It's like if you're going to cut ties altogether and go a separate way. What I wanted to happen, if it did happen, was to bring in the next guy, let him see out these last few games, whether you get top 4 or not. It didn't really matter to me at that point. And just sort of let him suss out what he wants to get gone and everything else, and ready for next season, rather going into next season and sort of finding out and using the early few games to sort of find out what our best system is, players, this, that, and the other. And I don't want that to happen, Joseph, but it looks like it is going to happen. So let's wait and see what happens, though, Joseph. Big up, my man, and really appreciate the support. Adrian Chia says, anyone willing to accept Man United route of getting a season-long consultant was deciding on the next manager? Jacko, we'll throw that to you.
This kind of does feel like a season-long consultant. Instead of it being in the case of kind of a guy doing a thorough inspection of the club, like Rangnick, I guess, supposedly was doing, it seems like it's more the case of kind of 2 therapists or kind of 2 psychiatrists for the players that are just sort of there to put their arm around the players, as well as not maybe change too much, to maybe change the sort of, like we said, the system and whatnot. Who knows? Maybe Ryan Mason and Stellini are playing good cop, bad cop with the players, Adrian Chia. That could maybe be what's happening. They're just trying to get the best out of them personnel wise and sort of kind of chemistry wise, and trying to, I guess, after the way that things blew up with Antonio Conte as well, maybe it is more about sort of repairing kind of the damage that has been maybe caused within the squad. And as much as we probably agree with a lot of the home truths that Conte said, it still caused a lot of ruptures and it still caused a lot of fractures in the squad. And so maybe what's being brought in is a consultancy of good friends brought into the club, Adrian Chia, to help heal the wounds.
Philip, what would you say to Adrian Chia here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that wasn't a particularly successful season that United had with Rangnick. Wasn't great. No, I think the only thing I'll say about the manager situation, okay, we've got maybe 4 or 5 possibilities at the minute right now. Now, 2 or 3 of them may be well find a job before the end of the season. But let's not forget, there's always a season of attrition at the end of any football season. The managers are going to leave clubs, they're going to, for whatever reason, and there may be a bigger pot to choose from in July than we have now. So that's worth thinking about as well. You know, I mean, as I said, I would prefer we had a new manager in now, but I'm prepared to put up with the 10 games, providing that we don't lie down and let everyone tick at our bellies for the next, you know, that we don't get Europe football. The next 10 matches are probably the most important 10 games in the last 15, 20 years of Tottenham's history. You know, so let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. But big up Adrian Chia, really appreciate the support. And he also says, Shawnee and me, he can answer this one. He says, in Dave's defence, there was a mild expectation amongst fans that Levy would use the international break to find a manager. It may not be vocalised, but fans do expect.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's fine. But like I say, like the fans' expectations at Tottenham Hotspur are, well, there's a plethora of a myriad of different outcomes and a myriad of different excuses that are always made to find a way to defend or to blame the person that you feel is getting the heat. Like me personally, like I said, I don't have, people think of me as this guy that always defends Daniel Levy. I don't want to be that guy. But when there's an overwhelming weight of one-sided public opinion, I like to represent like the devil's advocate for the purposes of balance, because it's never one or the other. I'm always doing it. I always have done it, right? And I'll do it on in any particular topic, just because I think good content requires both arguments or whatever to be represented. But for me personally, I think that like Daniel Levy was doomed. If he made a knee-jerk rash decision and went and paid a ridiculous amount of money to Nagelsmann, or if he does it with Brendan Rodgers right now, or if he did it with Potter or whoever else, then he'll get blamed by people that want to have it out for him and they'll say, there's clearly no plan. We want a plan. There's no plan. He waits. There's an opportunistic manager, blah, 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 blah. Just like he was with Richarlison, just like he was with Dan Juma, just like he was with blah. Same old thing. There's no vision at Tottenham Hotspur. And then when he sits back and takes time and says, actually, let's not do this stuff out in the public. Let's sit behind closed doors and have a no leaks policy. Then the same people are moaning at him for not making a quick enough decision. So like, I don't know. I think it's a ridiculous scenario where he can't win in either event, and that's fine. But to me personally, yes, in an ideal world, there would have been a long series of discussions, and it wouldn't have come up to the point where it took Conte to expedite the process for the removal. I think that there was a process where he was going to leave at the end of the season. Everyone knew he was going to leave at the end of the season. The fact that he's left 10 games before the end of the season has probably caught Daniel Levy alongside everybody else unaware, because he took the opportunity to throw everybody under the bus when the decision for him to make those comments would not have been taken had it not been for a ridiculous VAR decision. I'll stand by that. He was the architect of the situation. Following that, his position was untenable. Daniel Levy has had a conversation and said, by the way, like I said, to remind everybody, he wasn't fired. It was mutual consent, which means he wanted out. And he's like, yes, please let me go. We'll never know how much money he took for it, but he wanted to go. And Daniel Levy said, all right, now we are where we are. What do we do? And you know what? Had he made the decision immediately, Nagelsmann wouldn't have been ready. Neither would Potter. Neither would Rodgers. There was only Enrique that was available, right? Anybody else would have come with massive compensation packages. Now he's waited. Suddenly there's 3 or 4 new managers. And to Phil's point, at the end of the season, maybe 2 or 3 of these ones that are available now might not be there, but there'll probably be 7 or 8 others that are, because they always are at the end of the season. Daniel Levy will never get the credit for any decision he makes. I'm okay with him doing this. And you know what? He's okay with taking the risk. And he's a very risk-averse person. For him to sit there and say, I've got trust in Stellini and Mason to get us to top 4, and everyone says that top 4 is he has to find top 4. Clearly, he thinks that Mason and Stellini have got the chops to get us there, rather than the risk of putting somebody else in on a 4-year contract. So I'm okay with it. Let's see where we go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Me, anything you want to say to Adrian Chia? Mia?
I've got a mild expectation of having Romero delivered to my door in a parcel, but I'm also realistic.
Don't doubt what Pedro Porro can do.
In a cake. Inside a cake.
Anything else you want to say to him?
Whatever way, I mean. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm realistic as well. So there we go.
Sorry, Dave, just quickly, 24Z, right? 531. Masterful plan from Levy. You see what I mean? He's the same guy who criticizes Daniel Levy for everything he does. if he has a plan, it's the wrong plan. If he doesn't have a plan, where's the plan? Like, this is the point I'm trying to make. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Yeah, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Everyone's entitled. Everyone. Look, what I will say is Sean does love playing the devil's advocate. Every show he's on, I always watch him play the devil's advocate. So people do need to understand that as well, guys. Please do try and understand that. But Adrian Chia, look, no, all I'm going to end this with is if people expected it, they would have mentioned it when they were talking about getting him gone. Most people said, get him gone, let's get in and get an attacking manager, this, that, and the other. Nobody was expecting this situation. I think that's why fans are very pissed off. And to answer Sean's point, I think that's why a lot of it is going to the very top, purely because it's not what fans were expecting to happen here, my man. Big yourself up and really appreciate the support, brother. And then he also says, no, sorry. We got to let Philip go. He's got a puncture. He's got to get repaired. Philip, what's coming up until you get tested? Can I die?
Yeah, so I think I'm deflated and so is the tire. I think tomorrow, hopefully we're going to do a show on THF Till I Die. Now, if we win, it'll be a post-mortem. And if we lose, it'll be an autopsy. So Mia, I'll contact you later on about that to get that organised. And Dermot will be back fully in action sometime this week. Hopefully, he's easing himself back in, and I'm glad to see him coming back. And in the meantime, I'm going to be absolutely positive about tonight and say we're going to win 2-0.
Come on,
love it. Big up,
we'll
Mr.
see you
Brady.
Soon, lads. Always a pleasure.
See you soon. Hopefully, you can get that tire sorted out, my man.
Yeah, hopefully. See you later.
See you
lads.
very, very
See you,
soon.
Philip. Come on, you Spurs.
Bye,
Pick up, Philip.
Everybody, please get over, check out Philip's channel, THFC Till I Die. Get over there and smash the subscribe button. He is a really, really wise gentleman. And also, Dermo and Dervla, hopefully you two are good. And it's good to hear that Dermo is getting back into it slowly. So do check out THFC Till I Die, everyone. Where am I now on my list of questions? So, guys, we'll start with you on this, Jacko. These are our remaining fixtures: Everton, Brighton, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Man United, Liverpool, Palace, Villa, Brentford, Leeds. Do you think we can still salvage top 4 this season?
It's all really leading up to, if we don't bottle it right now, right here, it's all really leading up to, I think, Man United and Newcastle. I think we can probably get away with dropping points in one of those two, but we need to pick up 3 points in one of them, either against Man United at home or Newcastle away. It's harder to say which one is more difficult than the other because actually, historically, I think Newcastle away, like we've weirdly not had it, I think, as difficult as other teams usually seem to find it. But let's be honest, it's like a totally different Newcastle to what it used to be, I think, from the times that we were playing them. But Man United, it seems like they have a very interesting stat about how they crumble away from home against sort of kind of the bigger sides this season. There's also the factor of Dr. Tottenham that could come into it as well. So I don't know, Dave. I feel like if we keep it all together, if we just keep picking up 3 points, and then if, let's say, we pick up 3 points against United, maybe get a draw, or even if we lose out against Newcastle, we still probably find ourselves, I think, in still the top 4 race or still inside the top 4. I think it's just about going into that Newcastle Man United sort of fixture and at least getting, I don't know, 4 points. I think you probably do guarantee top 4 if you don't screw it up from thereafter. If you get 4 points out of those games, then I think you find yourself in a very good position because one of them's going to fall off. One of them's going to tear each other apart. And it does feel like also as well, it's just who can kind of suck the least, to be into top 4, because honestly, I don't feel like any of these teams are that convincing getting into top 4. Like Newcastle had a blip. I mean, as good as they have been, they did have a blip where they really weren't scoring at all. The defense was looking, really solid, but just a bit uncreative. Man United, right, as we said, just occasionally, just all of a sudden, just get kind of like destroyed 4 or 5-0, or just seem to not show up on the day. It does feel like maybe it's been an unconvincing sort of top 4 race. So I don't know, Dave, as long as we don't screw it up against Newcastle and Man United and we get the points where we need to in between those, it's actually probably well ours.
Interesting.
But that's a lot to be said. That is so much to be said. So much easier said than done. And who knows, Dave? In Stacey we trust. In Stellini and Mason we trust.
Interesting.
In the vacant manager position we trust.
Me, are you as optimistic as Jack with this top 4 shout? You look at it, we do have United, Liverpool. We haven't really fared well against them this season. Newcastle is going to be tough because they're fighting. But, Villa, Brentford, Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton winnable games? Do you think we have a chance? Bear in mind that there are teams behind us with a couple of games in hand of us.
Yeah, well, I'm not maybe as quite optimistic as what Jack just said there, because I do feel like other teams have also got a say in it as well. So I don't know. It's not just down to us in a way, because we have to understand. Oh, you all right, Dave? Yeah, we have to understand that other teams will have a say in it. So I can't say that we are going to get top 4, because I do feel like the other teams are going to have a say on whether we do get it or not.
Yeah. Me, do you know what? On this one, just quickly, I'm a bit torn with it. I'm at the point now, like, I do want top 4, right? Just hear me out. And I know you're going to call me a happy clapper and everything else. But look, I grew up in a school where everyone was United fans, Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans. And every Thursday I had to go into school and listen to them talk about their great exploits, in the Champions League from the night before. And, it really used to get to me. But I always believed one day we'll get there and I'll have my laugh. And now we're here. I want to keep it there just for them reasons alone, my man. Also, with the way our ownerships and their business model is, they ain't changing it. So that money then becomes, a necessity. We need that money. And I think we have to sort of come to terms with it, whether you like Levy, whether you don't, whether you agree with his business plan or you don't. We need that top 4 money. And that's just the reality of it. But do I think we're going to get top 4? Look, I think it's going to be a really tall order. I think it's going to be a really tall ask. I think, look, by the sounds of it, even by what Højbjerg was saying on international duty, where he said Conte should have mentioned, basically came out and said, Conte should have basically mentioned specific names and stuff like that. And for me, it does seem that maybe there is a split in the camp. Now, the only thing I hope is, weirdly enough, that Conte's outburst has maybe sort of rallied them all together somehow. But I highly doubt it. For me, I think, them splits are still there. I think it's going to be a tall order to ask someone like, Mason and Stellini to have the experience over the 10 games to be able to, keep this ship running. I think it's a big ask to do. But I'm also concerned how the players are going to react. Like, to me, I think we should see a reaction tonight. I'm going to get onto that in a minute. That's my next question. I think we should see a reaction. But I'm also concerned that, I've questioned before, how much do some of these guys that we have really, really care? And I just hope that doesn't prevail. I hope the people that do want top 4, do want to end this season, well, hopefully that's a larger group in the dressing room and that prevails. But somehow my fears, maybe I don't think so.
Just quickly, Dave, where I am especially worried about with top 4 is just the fact that the onus is sort of on the players now that Antonio Conte is gone. The guy that they did have their feud with, the guy that they rowed with is gone. And now it is sort of Stellini and Mason who will kind of maybe keep the chemistry, keep the balance with at least the emotions of the squad together. But it's not like Stellini and Mason are going to go up against Ten Hag or Klopp or anything and sort of out manage them or, tactically innovate themselves enough to outthink them. I don't think they're going to outthink a lot of these managers that they come up against. I think it's going to be more on the onus of the players to see if they can prove Antonio Conte wrong, like you kind of had said before. Maybe now, after Conte has left, they can say that they can get it done without him. And it might be a bit sort of disingenuous, but as long as we get top 4, I don't really care, as long as we get there. So for me, Dave, where I am a bit worried, though, is that the onus is on the players, whether they actually care about top 4 or not, and whether they actually care about proving Antonio Conte wrong or not. But they also could just be on the beach. Only 10 games left of the season. They don't really have a manager that's going to be kind of coming in with a, kind of angry attitude to change them or anything. So they could also kind of be on the beach. It could be quite nice over there at Spurs with no real type of winner's mentality.
Let's wait and see. But Shawnee, where are you at with it, my man? You've heard me speak. I'm not overly confident. Me is sort of somewhat in the middle. Jack's sort of a bit confident. Where are you at with it? Can we still make top 4? Or do you think it is going to be a massive ask?
It's a tough ask, but it's a tough ask for Newcastle. It's a tough ask for Manchester United. It's a tough ask for Brentford. Tough ask for Brighton. Tough ask for everybody. That's what top 4 is. It's a tough ask. To be in the top 4 in the most complex and complicated and competitive league in the world with the best teams in it, it shouldn't be easy to get to top 4, especially after our roller coaster season where we've gone up, we've lost, we won, we've lost. What I can't stand is the absolute clarity now. I got absolutely rinsed on Twitter about 4 months ago for calling out Levy out fans and saying you would rather, not everyone, not everybody, a lot of Levy out fans are very reasonable. They just happen to have given up with the owner. But a specific section of them saying, I said, you would rather us lose so that you can celebrate your opinion because you want the win-win. You're happy when Tottenham win because your team's winning, but you're happier when you lose because you get to celebrate your opinion. I got absolutely slammed and absolutely lambasted by people saying it's outrageous. What an absolute slur to say about Tottenham fans. I see it every day now. Every single day on so many channels, so many content creators are saying, I want Tottenham to implode. I want them to explode. I want the shit to fall off. I want everything to go wrong.
Then.
Well, it doesn't they want the worst thing to happen so they can get
kiss them goodbye. Kiss goodbye the managers that you want.
It's a disgrace, Jack. Sorry, mate. It's an absolute disgrace for people to want Tottenham to finish 15th so that they can finally see everything that they've been calling for 2 years. They care more about their opinion than they do about Tottenham doing well. Yes. And any fan out there that doesn't want us to finish 4th, you care more about your take than you do about Tottenham. Sorry, Mia, cracking. Mia?
Yeah, guess what else I saw? I actually heard somebody say they'd rather us get relegated. Relegated. They would rather see their team relegated. Like, I don't understand that mentality at all. I don't understand
Nonsense.
it. What? Just so you can be right about your opinion.
Exactly. Egos. It's egos. It's egos, Mia. And to me, top 4, look, it might be tough. It should be tough. That's what you have to go through to compete with the best next season. Whether or not Tottenham have any chance of doing anything in the competition next season is separate. You want to aim. You want you should always want your team to do as best they can. And anybody that wants Tottenham to not do that, so that they get to have a better chance of their opinion being right about the ownership, and they think the only way that you're going to get the owner out is by Tottenham falling apart, and you're going to get more moderates over. It's a bollocks bullshit narrative. It shows to me your true colors, that you care more about what you think is right than you do what is right and what is in the best interest of your club. The best interest of our club is for us to finish 4th this season. Well, it's to finish 1st, but ultimately right now it's to finish 3rd. Aim for the fucking stars, land on the moon. We need to finish 3rd or 4th. If we do, not only do we get to play the likes of Bayern Munich and Barcelona next season, but you also get more money, and you hope that whoever the next director of football is and whoever the next manager is, that they're going to get the lion's share of that budget to be able to go and fix the holes that we need. And we don't need that many new players in to fix it. You need a couple of centre-backs, a goalkeeper, and 1 creative player. 4 players, 150 million quid, 50 million, 40 million quid a player. We can do that. If you offload some of the dross and you delegate and you demote some of the current first team players to squad level players, and you bring in 3 or 4 absolute crackers, Tottenham are back. I don't understand why everyone thinks that this season, why Tottenham are in this absolute crisis. The timing of everything is bad for sure, but do not, for the love of God, do not wish your team to lose games so that your opinion can be right. It's absolutely offensive to me that and I don't think you're a fan. I don't think you're a fan if that's what you really want.
I don't blame
anyone. Sean is not talking to anyone on this panel. To clarify to everybody.
No, I'm not talking to you lot. I'm talking to people out there. But there are so many channels, Dave, so many people on so many channels that are saying that waffle. And I got absolutely annihilated on Twitter for even suggesting that people felt that way. And now every channel, or not every channel, a lot of channels out there are proclaiming it like it's some vision of the truth. It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. And it pisses me off. Sorry.
I do feel no, Sean. Honestly, Sean, I appreciate it. Get it out there. But where I was going to say is that if you do want a lot of the fixes at Tottenham Hotspur to happen sooner rather than later, you would need Spurs to finish theoretically as high as possible. I understand how fans have lost the spirit this season. I understand how fans can't really be asked to watch Spurs like as much. I think that's different than watching. Than wanting Spurs to be relegated or wanting Spurs to finish outside top 4. I could get how watching Spurs these days is a bit harder to be asked, but absolutely, at the end of the day, I mean, if you do want this club to be on the right trajectory again, I mean, finishing relegation, finishing bottom of the table is going to actually help us go backwards. It's not going to help us go forwards in any way.
I think I'd have to get locked up if that happened. I literally think I'd go genuinely insane. I think I would. I think I genuinely would have people in a padded cell. I don't think I could handle it. To be honest, I could barely handle losing 1 week to the next, let alone, being down that far. Alex, what I would say to you just quickly, my man, is, look, of course it is. Of course it is. They could sell this club at any time they want and make a massive, massive profit on what they bought it for. And everything else they're bringing in is just ramping up the price of what someone could buy it for. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think they have any intentions of moving the site or selling it. I really don't, because bricks and mortar property always goes up and up and up. And they've got prime real estate. I was listening to Eddie Hearn on the Peter Crouch podcast. It was Wembley, it was Arsenal Stadium, it was Wembley. And now Tottenham Hotspur is the venue to go to in London. So anyone that wants to put anything on in London, it's going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I don't think they'll sell anytime soon whatsoever, my man. Adrian G says, also nailing the manager may sort out Kane and Son. Look, I think with the manager not being in, my hope is that we had this discussion the other day, actually, and my thing is, I think it does come down to pedigree for someone like Harry Kane. I do. Son, look, the reality is the guy signed a contract, when he didn't have to. He could have easily held out and wait. So I don't think the Son really cares about the sort of manager, to be honest. I really don't think so. With Kane, I think he does. I think it is about pedigree, and maybe bringing in a manager in the summer may be too late to maybe try and speak to Harry Kane and convince him to stay and convince him of the project. Let's wait and see, Adrian. Let's wait and see, my man. Big yourself up, brother, and really appreciate the support. Guys, we're going to go for about another 15, 20 minutes. If I could ask everyone out there, if you have enjoyed today's show, please make sure you are smashing that like button. And also feel free to grab a channel membership for all of our fan shows every week, or send in a super chat with your thoughts and opinions, whether you agree, disagree. It's a great way to help support everything we do here. But most importantly, keep engaging with us in the comments. Guys, what I want to talk to you next about is we'll start with me and work our way backwards this time on this one. Mia, following Conte's spectacular outburst on the players after the collapse at Southampton, how do you think the players will react today? Do you think they will hide, or do you think they'll take responsibility and try to prove them wrong?
I don't know. I'm hoping that they want to prove him wrong. But it's difficult to say how the players are going to react, isn't it? I think some players will definitely want to react in the way of, we're going to prove you wrong. 100%. There's players on that pitch who don't want to be accused of being selfish. Definitely not. They're going to be like, that ain't me. But I do think that other players might, like I say, point the... Pardon?
You already seen a few take offence to that sort of selfish comment.
Yeah. So I do think that maybe some of them will point the finger and be like, that wasn't me, that was you, mate, not me. And that's obviously a problem. That's not the attitude you want. But you're hoping that Stellini spoke to them in a way that was sort of because you can be firm but fair. So I'm hoping that Stellini had a bit of a firm but fair conversation with them, because that's what I would do. I would treat them like, hold on a minute, guys. This is somewhat true. You didn't turn up on this game, and you should have. However, you need to do better, and now you can prove it to your fans who come and support you week in and week out, who watch you week in and week out. So you need to get on that pitch and prove it. So you can say to them, sort of be a bit harsh, but say, listen, I want you to prove it. I want you to show that that's not you, because you're better than that. Give them a bit of a big up as well. So you say you're better than that, but so you need to do better. So there's a way of psychologically putting your arm around them, but also being a bit strict with them. So I'm hoping that kind of Stellini meets that balance where he has said to them that you do need to pull your socks up, basically, a little bit.
And Jack Nee is absolutely spot on here, right? The players do have a point to prove. Even if those who were branded selfish but kind of thought Conte wasn't on about them, they have a point to prove that they're not selfish. And those who knew Conte was on about them, they've also got a point to prove, right? So we should expect, ideally, to see everyone at it today.
I think there are a few players that have come out and have agreed with what Antonio has said. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of players that probably just, whether they might have agreed with some parts, they definitely did not appreciate probably how it was done and how it was, orchestrated by Conte in that sort of manner. Højbjerg is a classic example where he didn't exactly come out and, completely, attack Conte, but he just kind of said, name names, right? Like, sort of who are you speaking about specifically? And I think what might happen from all of this is that players who might have felt like they were being targeted by Conte, or players who might have felt like that was completely out of line, I do think will try to, at least you would hope, the natural human instinct would be to try to prove him wrong, would be to try to come out there and show that everything that he either has accused you of or has said about you is just completely out of place and completely wrong. And I think for a lot of it is sort of true, but you'd like to think that these players for the rest of these 10 games can maybe prove him wrong, maybe prove us wrong about it. At the end of the day, it could mean us getting top 4 if that's the case, if they end up successfully proving him wrong. So we all hope for it, and we all hope that they do maybe use this as fuel, because it does maybe go two ways. Either they sort of just look at this as maybe just already, an end of the season scenario, like I said, maybe on the beach where they don't really want to get up for some of these kind of tougher games. Maybe the home games, they'll kind of maybe make it a bit easier and show up for those. But the away ones like this one at Goodison Park, this is where it's a real test of their mettle. And if they get the result here and show that they can get it done, it would be impressive. I think it was even last time, Dave, wasn't it? Everton away from home was Conte's first ever match as well. And we didn't even win that game. So be definitely a real testament to win this one and prove them wrong. And I hope they do, because if they do prove them wrong, that means top 4 potentially.
Yeah. Spot on. First of all, Shawnee, Phil P says, Sean, say what you really think. Whoa!
Listen, I'm going to take this opportunity right now, if you don't mind, to take that, and also something that Leighton said about someone that I'm apparently afraid to debate.
Let's not mention.
I won't go into that one, okay? But just the answer is absolutely never, right? But what I would say is Phil and I are going to do a show on Wednesday night. If you don't mind me plugging it quickly,
at
7 p.m.
on your channel right now, actually.
Phil P is a massive Levy out advocate, a lovely guy, but has all of the staunch opinions that represent Levy out well baked in his mind. And I talk a hell of a lot. I think I wouldn't be disrespectful to Phil to say that he also has a good tongue on him. So he and I are just going to do, I don't know however long it's going to go, but 7 p.m. on Wednesday night, he and I, just me and him, are going to be on my channel for however long it goes, and we're going to go through the entire Levy out debate. And hopefully that will be of interest to people that want to come along. It's going to be fire for sure, but it should also hopefully be respectful and not screamy shouty, because I think that we both are good friends with each other. So that will be something to look forward to.
That should be fun. Well, everybody, we are putting Sean and Mia's link in the chat as we go along. So please click on that and get over and smash the subscribe button if you have enjoyed their contribution today. Big up Phil P. And then we've also got the Sable team.
Grabbing the fan show membership Disabled team is big yourself up, my friend. And I think he really wants us to win this one, isn't he a Leeds fan?
Yeah, Leeds fan.
They need us to do a job today. Certainly need us to do a job today. So we'll try our very best. And then also Truth Sets Free has given a membership to Dave Tyson, as well as I think Lynch 616 as well. Pick yourself up, Mr. Truth, and take advantage of it yet again, everybody. Please, just somebody. I want to see some new faces this week.
Mr. United Spurs of America, you're going to be a busy man tonight, Jacob. Big yourself up, brother. And big up Truth Sets You Free. It's a wonderful thing. Times are tough for people out there. Some people may not be able to, afford it and fully understand. Some people rely on the last bit of money and, call it bread money over here just to get through the last 2 days before payday or that. So big yourself up, Truth Sets You Free, for doing that for people out there. It's a really, really honourable thing to do. But Shawnee, the same question I sort of asked Jack and me, and then I've got one more topic I want to discuss after this. Do you think we will see a reaction today? Because, Conte's outburst, and me has sort of alluded to it. There's players that didn't like being called selfish. Me and Jack were saying as well that, there are players that were called selfish. They knew it was about them, but also have a point to prove. So should we see a team, a whole collective performance, everyone playing for each other tonight, playing for the badge, but most importantly, right, playing for the fans, they owe us.
Yeah. I think you will, but I also think that to expect some amazing football is going to be incredibly difficult against an Everton side that's run by Sean Dyche. We might have 65, 70% of possession, but it might be very repetitive. It might be like very kind of pushing the ball left to right, looking for a like very patient nonsense. It'd be very frustrating. I don't expect it's either going to be that, right? It's either going to be one of those where we have a lot of possession and we break them down or try our best to break them down, or it could just be a game where you think about it and neither team really suits a point, right? Everton are in a relegation battle. They need 3 points because 1 point when there's 9 teams that are still capable of going down, you really need 3 points in this environment. Tottenham need 3 points to compete with Newcastle, United and the like. So for me, like I imagine it's going to be a very stubborn Everton, at least in the first half. But it could just be one of those games where, you know, things happen and it could be really exciting. I'm not even praying for the outcome, right? I'll let God decide on the outcome, but I would love God to help us out and let us see an early goal, especially a Tottenham early goal. If we could get an early goal in the first 20 minutes, it's going to change the dynamic of the game. If it's 0-0 until 45, it's going to be incredibly frustrating. And I think people will reflect on this as not being a reaction from the players. It doesn't matter how well we play. If they just sit back and park the bus and they've got those 3 players in midfield that are going to be out muscling us, it's going to be a frustrating night. If we can somehow sneak an early goal in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, Everton have to then come out and play. That then suits us. And then you might just see, even if it means Tottenham have vulnerabilities at the back, you might just see like 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in the game. And I'm up for that. So I'm hoping for an early goal from Tottenham and take my chances with the result. But yeah, I do expect generally a reaction, mate. I do expect one, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be good football.
Yeah, look, let's wait and see. I would expect the reaction from all these players. I think they'll owe us, especially the fans. I really do believe that, you know, regardless of what their internal problems are. You know, the fans have travelled the length and breadth of the country. Some fans have travelled all the way across Europe, and other fans have put stuff off, missed family events and all, just to be able to watch them at home from the, you know, and stuff like that. So I think they got to realise, hopefully they can pull together and do it for us all moving forward. Now, last comment or last thing I sort of want to touch on, I'll start with you on this one, Jacko. Graham Souness sort of said on Tottenham, and he said, "You have no chance of being successful unless you have good senior pros. That will never change. I would suggest therein lies your problem at Spurs. Those characters help the manager. They do his job for him in the dressing room because you can't be having a pop at them every week. They keep the weak personalities in line and drag them through difficult parts of a season. I'm not sure Tottenham have any of those players, and it strikes me they are crying out for senior pros who will take responsibility. Dig others out and be prepared to go out on a limb for the cause." Now, Jack, is Souness right or wrong here? Do we have any senior pros who can do the manager's job for him in the dressing room? And is that not what Hugo Lloris should be doing? And is that not what his responsibility as captain is?
I don't think Hugo's capable of it at all. I think Hugo will save his own skin at any stage, especially if he makes a mistake. He's the least accountable player, I think, in this whole squad. But what I would say is I think there is an imbalance of maybe players who do represent what Graham Souness is talking about, the right sort of professional attitude, the right sort of attitude, holding each other accountable, keeping each other in check, having that winner's mentality. But I think the majority of those players with that attitude that I'm talking about have only really just come into the team, like in the last, like maybe 2, maybe at most like 3 years. Whereas the players who maybe have a bit more sort of kind of seniority, a bit more kind of veteran kind of ness, whatever the word is, in the club, and, you know, have a bit more kind of an elite status to a degree in the squad, are kind of the ones that don't have that sort of mentality that Souness is talking about. And this is something we bang on about constantly, but this is kind of a bit more nuanced, where I think it is about how Graham Souness is partially right in that I think the people who have a say and the people who have power in this dressing room are maybe those of the weaker mentality and are those that have stuck around for quite a long time. But to say that we are absent of those players entirely, I don't think is true, because I do think we have Bentancur. I do think we have Højbjerg. I do think that the likes of Pedro Porro and Emerson are showing great attitudes at this moment in time. So to say that, and also Kulusevski seems to be a very wise and mature kid for a kid of his own age as well. So to say that we're absent of this senior, you know, kind of pro attitude, I don't think is true. I think we have it. It's just, it's kind of it's almost like a political thing, Dave. It's like, how do you get, that sort of say in the dressing room? It's probably Højbjerg is trying his best to maybe get a say in the dressing room, but he's only been here so long. And he also isn't technically the captain. And so he'd be overstepping if he stepped across Hugo and things like that. I think that's what it is. I just think there are players in here with the right attitude. They've just only just come into the club, and they're not exactly the I guess the leaders in the squad, technically, even though they should be.
Spot on. Mia, where are you at with Graham Souness's comments? Do you agree with Jack that we do have them, or do you think maybe if you look at some of the recruitment that we have recruited sort of young, and that maybe that just isn't there?
No, I do agree with Jack, but like what Jack said, there's a sort of hierarchy. So when you're new or you're younger, you feel like you can't really go above that hierarchy. So therefore, your say isn't going to probably be getting across. So I think that's the problem. And I feel like those are the players that we need to get rid of. So then the hierarchy can be changed around a little bit. So that isn't a Hugo who is at the top of the pecking order. That's not who we want at the top of the pecking order, So I feel like that's going to have to change this summer for it to work and move forward. Otherwise, we're just going to go backwards if we carry on with this kind of situation.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Mia. And it's about changing that hierarchy, and it's not going to happen overnight, sadly. I wish it could, but I don't think it will.
Interesting. I'll give my opinion in a second. Shawnee, where are you at with it, man?
Sorry, mate. What was the question?
So Graham Souness was basically alluding to, we're seeing too many managers having to come out and criticize these players every single week, right? But his argument is that you should have a good bunch of senior pros, or at least your captain should be also pulling the reins in the dressing room, getting weaker ones to fall in line, getting them through difficult parts of the season. And he's sort of saying that Tottenham don't have that, and that's where he thinks our problem is.
Yeah.
Aren't holding
Do you know what, Dave? Do you remember, mate? I think it was on this channel a while back. It was the two of us and Jack, and I think it was Ben or Sim, and we were having a conversation around what's the gap, right? And I asked you the question, and you didn't know the answer at the time, and then you text me later on.
I texted you,
a long message, right? You said, I thought about it, Sean. I thought about it all night, and here's my answer. Which I first and foremost love the fact that you came back to me on it, and you came back with an answer.
I like that when people give me questions and I sort of haven't thought about. I like to go away and think about it.
And you came back and you made the point to me, and I thought it was a brilliantly worded argument as well. That you said that the gap is leaders in the dressing room, right? People like Hugo Lloris, like the big names in the dressing room, are not vocal. Like we've seen the Amazon documentary. Like when you see Hugo Lloris doing his pre-match, like the last captain's arm, that when he goes, come on, lads, come on. But there's not really any kind of instruction. It's just like, come on, guys, come on, let's do it. Like not really that kind of vocal. And Harry Kane doesn't say boo to a goose, really. He leads by example, not by vocality. And I don't think I've ever heard Eric Dyer say anything. Right, we spoke about Eric Dyer's long time last season. We spoke about the ability for him to communicate in different languages. But if you're not very vocal as a person, you could speak every language under the sun. If you're not actually going to use it, then it's.
I mean, he can blame his teammates in 10 different languages. But
exactly, exactly that. And so, I think that Dave, I think you made a really good point, and I think Graham Souness makes a really good point. Like it does require there's like peer group pressure, right? You don't need to be scolded all the time by your boss. You need other people around you to give you a kick up the backside. And I'd imagine that that there's a gap there. I'd also go as far as to say that there was an article in the paper this week. I did a video on it. A Dutch guy who apparently had told Arne Slot to step away from the Tottenham job. Is Ard de Goss or something. I forget the guy's name. He was a big deal in Dutch football, retired.
Yeah.
And he made the point. He said that in Tottenham, the dressing room is protected. And that's fine as long as the dressing room is good enough and has leaders. If it doesn't, then that's a massive problem. And I don't know who that guy is, but I don't know how he knows that about Tottenham, but it sounds like he
could be Martin Yole.
Yeah. Just under a pseudonym. And I think he was right. I think you were right, Dave. I do think that there is, and I think Graham Souness is right, that we need to maybe spend a little bit more time when we identify the next crop of players coming in, We need to spend a little bit more time, not just allocating, our attention towards their tactical capabilities, but also their mental attributes, leadership qualities, vocality, temperament, all those sorts of things are things that we need to include in our analysis, because right now I think that we've got a lot of good players, a lot of average players, but we have very few loud players. And I think that loud players are important.
No, 100% they're important. Absolutely spot on. Look, when I look at it, it's kind of like you look at a lot of our recruitment under Paratici. It's sort of been 25 or under. It's not really, hasn't been really too many experienced sort of pros coming in here. So, and we've had a lot of turnover of players. So you're ultimately relying on Dyer, Davies, Sanchez, Hugo Lloris, Kane, and Son to sort of be your leaders in that dressing room. Now, we've seen it for a number of years now. Hugo Lloris is not that guy. We've seen it since Kane has been captain. He's not that guy. And you're never, ever going to make Dyer, Davies, or Sanchez captain because they don't have the consistencies of performances to ever warrant having that sort of armband. So therefore, you're sort of left with a squad where everyone's sort of just looking to the manager for absolutely everything. Even after games, it's like they walk in, they're sitting there waiting to be bollocked. And it's like, sometimes you need someone to stand up and go, look, I'm going to take this one. You were shit, do better, stay on your feet. You know what I mean? And someone to stand up, call it out as is. But I don't think anyone either has that respect. You see it Tottenham over the last few years. So many cliques, so many factions, Welsh Mafia, French Mafia, Gulf Mafia, Bouncy Castle Mafia, whatever you want to fucking call it, they've got one, right? And it's kind of like, when it's all cliques and stuff like that, you don't have anyone that has the respect of anyone. So I can guarantee you now, what's happening is someone will stand up to speak and everyone will just turn around and say, sit down, you mug. There is no voice. There is no leader. There's no one grabbing it. And that's why it's a massive part of the reason as well why we're going through the turnover managers, the reason why we're going through the cycle we are in, because you do need at least 2-3 people that stand up, say it as it is, turn around and get the people like Graham Souness, get the weaker mentality people to fall in line. We just don't have that, I don't feel. I think everyone's relying on everyone else around them, but no one's actually taking any ownership down there. I think if you sorted that out, I think it would improve this cycle that we seem to go through, rotating managers as well. Anyone disagree?
I think that's spot on. But then what happens? How do you fix that? You just change the hierarchy of the leaders in the squad who obviously have contributed to that sort of problem, Dave. But, in order to get rid of that hierarchy, you basically got to get rid of those players, because it's not like they're going to give up their sort of leadership roles, in any sense, unless it's done by the manager. And it seems like as well, managers haven't been able to sort of decaptain Hugo Lloris, or they haven't, unseated Eric Dyer from his sort of position of leadership or whatever. So it does seem like it's just going to need to happen through just getting rid of these players, and then whichever players want to step up, like a Bentancur, like a Højbjerg, etc., to be the captain, it's up to them. But I think it's going to need to happen, where I feel like players like Højbjerg, Romero, Bentancur, etc., they want to step in, they want to be the leaders in the squad, but it's like what Mia was saying. I think she had it perfectly. They know they can't exactly overstep their bounds or overstep what already are the leaders of Hugo, etc. Like they know they can't overstep, and then it leads to this kind of like imbalance, I think.
But as well, right? When you see so many players over there, look at the amount of turnover of players we've had that we've bought and shipped on. That alone should tell everybody that, there's not a stable dressing room there. It's not like players are coming in and it's like, right, this is how we do things here. No other deviating. When you're seeing the cliques, when you're seeing people coming out, playing cricket, playing golf, and you're like, we're losing games. Why aren't you working on the football pitch? But there's that, it shows that there is no one stepping up. There's no one even stepping up and going, guys, fucking cricket, get out of the dressing room. Let's start playing with a football, because half of us can't even control it or pass it 5 yards. So how about we work with the ball that we're actually paid to, first of all, rather than a cricket ball. And all these sort of things just shout to me that there is not that there. And that's why I've had a huge problem with Lloris's captaincy over the last, couple of years, because I just don't see it there. I don't think there is anyone implementing any standards when they come in here. That's why Endem Ladass can trudge around and does what he wants. That's why Lo Celso's been able to be a dickhead in and around the training environment. Like we were told, nobody liked him. He's a bit weird now. Purely because there's no one setting standards. No one saying, hang on, You're bang out of line. That's not what we do here. No one doing it, and it's a huge problem. And that also has to be sorted out. Along with a manager change, there has to be a change of captaincy at this club as well. That's my opinion.
I agree.
That's my opinion.
I agree. But is there anyone that can come in next season that can immediately become in as captain? Probably not, right? Would you agree that even if you go and sign Casemiro or Casemiro's twin brother, right? As much as I think that Tottenham need a player like him, right? We haven't got one. Every big team has got a absolute monster in the midfield. I'd like to get Fulham's Palhinha. I think he's an absolute beast. I know Jack is an absolute lover of him as well. But you can't bring a new guy in and immediately install him as captain. So in the world where Harry Kane leaves in the summer, or even if he doesn't, I don't necessarily think he's the right call for captain. Excuse me. You're not going to give it to Eric Dyer. We know we're going to take it away from Hugo Lloris, or we want to take it away from Hugo Lloris. Who's the obvious choice amongst the squad right now? It's got to be Pierre Højbjerg, right? But then, do you really? But if you play, if like your captain has to play, if he's fit, your captain has to be someone you want to play.
People don't want Højbjerg playing every match.
People don't want.
I do, but a lot of he's a divisive one. I agree, Sean.
Yeah,
he's divisive.
So and that's the problem. If you don't have an obvious candidate for captain after Hugo Lloris, it stands to the point that Souness is making, that Dave's made, that I've made, and that Ard de God or whatever his name was made, right? If Tottenham don't have clear leaders in the dressing room, and you can't just bring someone in and immediately put them as captain, that's a problem, isn't it?
It is. It is. And look, it's going to be a problem that it's you may bring in more signings and may improve the situation a little, but you're still going to have that problem until you have someone that plays week in, week out. But I would argue that people have been talking about LS Vlog saying I have to get over to Weird Tottenham TV. Don't worry, I'm heading over there now, my man. I thought it was starting at half six till 7:30, but I'll head over there now in a second, my man.
Is it starting now?
I don't know. Anyway, why don't you talk for a minute? I'm going to check.
It says it's starting now, Dave.
Yeah, we got to go. We got to go.
Okay. All right. So, Jack, are you all right to end off here? I better head over.
Sure. Yeah. No worries. I mean, I can just take over the rest of the chats and everything. Plug Mia's channel, plug Sean's channel.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Has Ben texted you, Dave? Or
what time does the game start? I thought the game started at 8. Did it start at 7:30?
No, should be 8 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is an 8 o'clock.
Then why the hell are we starting so early?
I haven't a clue.
That's your guys'.
It's usually
Sean, maybe plug the channel, and I guess if you guys want to go, you can go, or we can keep talking. It's your choice. It's not up to me.
Okay. Well, I'm at Spurs Talk Show, guys. Listen, you don't have to like me.
I might keep talking.
You haven't got to like me. You can hate me if you want, but at least on my channel, all I try to do is represent both sides of the argument. That's what I do with my Tottenham walks. I say this is the popular opinion, and here's the one that is not so popular but also has merit, and we can discuss it. That's what I try to do. And please come over for Wednesday night with Phil P. Woo! When we're going to do our own version of a Levy Out debate. So I'd love to see you all there. Sure, Spurs Talk Shows where you can find me. Cheers, Jack. Cheers, Dave. Cheers, Mia.
No, great job today, Sean.
Right.
Thanks for joining
that.
us.
See you later.
Thanks for bringing the energy. Alrighty. Are we seeing you
Thanks
later,
for
Dave?
joining us, we appreciate it. Sorry, Jack.
Are you leaving, Dave?
Oh yeah. I'm going. See.
Oh, we're going to still
Okay.
talking.
Yeah. That was weird. that was like, I was like, it's their decision to go. It's like we can kick them out if they want to, but couldn't decide whether they want to go or not. But big up Phil P, big up the disabled team. Truth Sets Free saying Dyer laughing with Dave Portnoy says it all. Simon Jordan would have ripped Portnoy's head off, or Jordan. Is that what he's saying? Do you know which Jordan he's referring to? Maybe Michael Jordan. I'm not sure. Truth. I'm not sure which Jordan. I think there are a lot of good Jordans out there that would have ripped his head off. But for me, Truth, what I didn't like about that, at least, was I don't even care when that happened, Truth, was the fact that felt like an answer from Eric Dyer that would have come from like sort of a beaten down Spurs fan, right? And I think, Mia, you might know where I'm coming from on this, where it's like oftentimes when you are sort of kind of in a bad situation with Spurs, people kind of ask you about it. It's like, oh, like, do you think you guys are going to win any trophy anytime soon? It's like, no, absolutely not. Like, you just sort of like are often finding yourself like in a kind of a defeated position. And it's because you, at the end of the day, can't do very much about it. You're not the one on the field. You're not the one making the decisions, etc. Whereas a guy like Eric Dyer, sort of looking like a defeated sort of kind of fan was just unbelievable to me. It just didn't make sense to me, truth, because he's actually a guy who can make a difference. He is a guy who can actually have an impact on our trophies, on our sort of, run to try to change things and turn things around. Like, he has an actual influence on all of that. So I just never understood why it is that he sort of was acting as if he was just kind of like a depressed Spurs fan, like some of the rest of us. But I don't know, Mia, have you seen that video with him and Mr. Dave Portnoy?
Yeah, I have. And it's just ridiculous. Like you say, he could have handled it a lot better. Like, he could have handled it a lot better. He didn't need to say that. Like, why say that? You're just embarrassing the club. Like, that's just embarrassing, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's like bringing shame, some more shame to the club, Yeah.
It is bringing more shame to the club. And like I said, he actually has a way to impact it for me, Mia. Like, he's not like you and I just watching it, on the couch every day. Like, he's capable of actually, making some sort of difference. Like, he is capable of getting us through those games against Sheffield, etc. Like, he's lost us those games against NS Mira and everything. So for him to sort of have that kind of cop-out answer, I didn't appreciate.
Do you know what it always reminds me of? I don't know if you ever watched Mulan. Know when Mishu, he goes, shame on you and shame on your family, shame on your cow. That's what it reminds me of. It's just like bringing shame, all of the shame.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on, Mia says the truth. And Simon Jordan's a Meljack. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you thought you meant Michael Jordan, but yeah, especially your generation. That's the proven winner. Absolute right. The proven winner. For me, I guess it's the LeBron era for me, truth, but pick yourself up, my friend. But maybe, Mia, I'm going to kind of give you maybe a question on just sort of score prediction / maybe how the game will go. Everybody as well in the chat, those that are with us, keep smashing that like button. We're going to kind of sort of wrap things up. Plug Mia's channel, but kind of last question for both of us here, Mia, is how do you think this game will go? What type of game will it be? And then also score prediction as well.
I think it's going to be a really tough game. I think they're going to be really hard to break down. I feel like we're going to have most of the ball. I think they're going to allow us to have the ball. And I think it's going to be a real tough game. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. It's going to be all of the men behind the ball for us. So they're going to be tough to break down. But we have to move quickly. If we move quickly, Jack, we can make those spaces. We have to move the ball quicker. Not this slowly thing. What is that when they do this slowly the slow build up? When you're down to breaking teams down who are hard to break down, you have to move the ball quick to create those spaces. So we need to come out and we need to be like, go out there and be quick. We cannot do the slowly thing. We have to start quickly, 100%. And score prediction, I said either 2-1 to us or 1-0. I think either way, that's what I'm thinking. It's not going to be a high scoring game, in my opinion.
It's hard to imagine a high scoring game against a Sean Dyche team. Like, you can be all over them, like you can be destroying them, but you still might only win like 2-0, 1-0, 2-1, like type of thing. Like, it's just always the case that you could be all over them, but they'll somehow kind of keep goals out. I would say I agree with you where it's like they're going to be very hardworking. They're going to be very tough to sort of kind of pass around. So it is kind of more on the players to be more inventive, to be more creative, also not to just sort of constantly just be looking sideways and thinking that they can just sort of pass it around Everton, because I don't think you can do that. I think they set up with basically like a 4-5-1, put like 3 really hardworking midfielders in there that can cover a lot of distance and also lead some of those counterattacks. Like, I see Doucouré as well as Onana, some of those surging, powerful runs that they make from midfield. So it's up to Spurs, I think, to actually sort of take the onus in this game and sort of bring it to them right away. Because if you sort of, I think, put the pressure on Everton, put them in that sort of shape and that sort of shell, you might have a better chance of it. But if you just kind of pass it to death sideways constantly, sort of pass ourselves to sleep, I expect Everton to eventually sort of, nick a goal at some stage with like a header or set piece, however they do it, but they will find a way. So it's probably up to players like Pedro Porro, I think, too, Mia. I think Pedro Porro is going to be a huge player in this game, because I imagine they'll force us out wide and they'll ask us to put in balls into the box. And Pedro Porro is probably our best chance of a good ball into the box.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually going to say, is Pedro Porro somebody we can like look to be that So because he can the way he can pass that ball, and also take some shots from outside the box, because we know that Sonny's got that in his locker. We know, like, just try something a bit different instead of doing the same old passing out, round, and then, you know, it leads to nothing. We need to try something different, and also, like I say, be a bit quicker. Get Porro there, whipping in those balls for a Kane head. You know, like, we have to do that. Otherwise, we are literally, if we go like Dave said earlier, 0-0 at half time, it is going to be, or is it Sean? One of them said it's going to be horrendous, because that's when you get nervous and you think, oh, they're going to nick this, you know, and the players probably think that as well. They're probably thinking that as too. So that's not what we want. Not at all.
And how often have we conceded right in the beginning of the second half as well, Mia? Like, you know, 5-6 minutes into the second half. You're totally right. You're totally spot on. Just another quick thing. Do you feel like it could be a scrappy game? Maybe like kind of where Everton are throwing a lot of bad challenges into our players. Like, do you think our players are up for the physical challenge, like Amy has said here?
Yeah, they are quite a physical team. They've got some boys in there that are, you know, strong, tough guys. And I hope that they are up for it today. I don't want to see Romero getting the yellow cards, but I want to see him put in a few tackles so they know that he's there. A bit of, like, be a bit mean. And Porro as well has got that meanness in him. So we need to show our mean side today, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For me, everybody, like I said, I imagine this to be a very tough as well as desperate Everton side. Like, it's a Monday night game. I'm not sure what the weather is like up there, but I'm assuming it's not good. It could be nice, but no matter what, I'm sure Sean Dyche is probably going to ask for the heavens to unleash some rain or something like that in order to make it more his type of atmosphere. But we know Goodison Park as well is one of the louder, sort of tougher atmospheres to go into as well. So it is on the players to basically, you know, start off the gate strong, because if you give them that chance in the second half, like you were saying, where it's 0-0, they will probably find a way to get into it. And then I feel like they are a type of team where it's like, if they go 1-0 up, very hard team to come back from. Very hard team. I think we've seen that with Burnley and teams like that in the past, where it's like they get that first goal, very hard to sort of kind of take it away from them and take the game away from them. So it's on us today. It's a huge game. It's one of those games where it's not easy. It's not exactly a beautiful team that we're going to be coming up against, where they're going to be beating us with, you know, silky football, but they're going to probably be capable of beating us with just harder work, harder ethic, harder mentality, and things like that. So that's where I am a bit worried. Like, are the players, after the dismissal of Conte, they probably would have liked to maybe go to against like a Bournemouth at home or like something like that, but it's almost the opposite. It's an Everton away, which is a tough atmosphere to go into, and it's going to be a team that's going to kick lumps out of us, I think, as well. So we'll see if they're up for it. Any final words, me? I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0, 1-0, 1-1. All those are potential, but you know me, happy clapper Jack. I'm going to say 2-0. Any final words, Mia? And also, what's coming up on the channel as well?
I will be doing a review on Wednesday morning, 8:45 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, if you guys are about to listen to me. I'm actually not far from my 300 now, Jack, so if you could all kindly subscribe, I would really, really appreciate that. Give everything a watch, a like, the usual stuff. But yeah, I'm doing videos. I do my lives 3 times a week. So yeah, it's obviously it's getting, you know, near to the 300. So please, guys, I'd really appreciate getting to that, because that milestone for me is massive. So I'm really pleased that I've nearly managed. I'm edging it to get there.
Let's get 300 in the Mia army, everybody. 300 strong soldiers we need in there, everybody. Let's get it by tonight, also, hopefully. How close are you? A little bit.
I'm 7 away.
Oh, come on, we can do it. I know it's happening tonight.
Also, I'm a bit like Sean. I really appreciate everybody's opinions. I try and give everybody respectfully their opinion as well with me. And yeah, I'm a bit like Sean, where I kind of put all different sides of the story, and I'm a bit of an outside of the box thinker. So yeah, if you want something a bit different, and I'm quite a positive person, I try and keep it positive as much as possible, because I don't want to live in a world where things gloom and doom. So I try and be as positive as I can. Yes, I'm a bit of a happy clapper, but if you like a bit more of a you know, outside the box kind of thinking, a bit more not so negative all of the time, because I try to be a positive person. And even if you want to come and have a moan on my channel, that's all well and good. I love it all. All your comments are appreciated on there. So
well said, man. Well said. Everybody, go on there. Show some support, please. Just 7 away from 300, the mighty 300. Let's get her there today, regardless of what happened. She absolutely deserves it. Working hard over there. I know you are, Mia, with the channel, and I want to see it keep growing. And also, as well, like you said, up for debate, up for any type of sort of opinions, and you engage with it well, and you're very respectful, Mia. So great show today. Thanks for making it a great show. Yeah, I don't know really what else to say, everybody. Watch along later, fan show later with Jacob. Please, everybody, take advantage of the memberships that Truth Sets Free gave out. Thank you very much, Truth. Would love to have a chat with you as well, my friend. But also, please, everybody, take advantage of that, because I do want to see some new faces on the fan show, because you can have people like Mia who have shown up on a fan show and then have basically never looked back since. So I would love to see some new faces.
And they're also bored of my face now. Not my face, but they're bored of my voice now. So we need some new people on here to come and have their say. And also they're lovely and supportive, because without them, I wouldn't have started my own channel. So big up to Jack as well and Dave, because they really did encourage me, which was really lovely.
Wow, everybody, it's a great opportunity that we, I feel like have for you guys to come on and have your say and just have a nice chat with just us. And like Mia, has done here, she's went on and started her own channel. And I think, like I said, it's never looked back. So please, everybody, take advantage of it. Thank you, everybody else that has given to the channel as well. You don't know how much it helps us. Yeah, Mia, sorry.
I'm one away. So one more person. If you
it's happening tonight. It's happening tonight. It's happening tonight.
I'm so close now.
An ugly win, like you said, Tequila 316. I think it is. You said it was too ugly to join. I thought you said ugly win. Tequila, whatever you feel like, my man. Camera off, camera on. But I'm pretty sure that voice isn't as ugly as mine. So come on and have your say, Tequila. But everybody, I think we'll leave you there. I'm gonna say 2-1. 2-0, something like that, 1-1, 1-0, something in that range. Basically put in all of them, but I am going to go happy clapper jack on a 2-0. It's going to be an ugly game. I don't doubt it at all. And I also don't expect Spurs to really be the most silky looking team. And let's be honest, Everton won't be either. But I think we'll leave you there, everybody. Smash that like button on the way out, please. And we'll see you for the watch along. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Everywhere we go.